Rise of the family begins with daily intelligence. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination. So don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like. And if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 26, Counterattack, The Change of Autumn Cicada. Changsheng was experienced in combat and highly adaptable, a fact Fu Changsheng had anticipated. He showed no sign of panic, not even the slightest attempt to dodge. As Changsheng pressed forward, he suddenly flipped his right hand and swung the 100 Ghosts banner fiercely. A chilling wind blew, and ghosts swept in the air. Qiu Chan transformed into a red-robed demon, hovering in the air. Its thousands of red hairs shot out like lightning-fast arrows, aiming at Changsheng. You even have ghost servants. Even Changsheng, who had faced countless enemies, was stunned. First, the countless silver-spotted venomous snakes, then the ghost servants. None of these were legitimate tactics, and they came one after another. Changsheng was in a rush. It was too late to dodge. Puff, puff, puff. The red hair pierced through the diamond shield, whizzing through Changsheng's body. Changsheng's eyes widened, piercing his depth. If he had retreated the moment he realized it was a trap, he would have avoided this devastating disaster. Bang! The robber cultivator collapsed to the ground. After Fu Changsheng was certain the man was dead, he felt around for a moment, dropped his belongings into his storage bag, and immediately donned his invisibility cloak, preparing to leave. Turning around, he saw the female ghost Qiu Chan pounce on the ground, her mouth pointed at the corpses of Li Wente and Li Wente. The next moment, 2 strands of milky white matter were sucked out of the corpses. Fu Changsheng was stunned. Clearly, Qiu Chan was feeding. His eyes lit up, because after devouring the souls of 3 cultivators, Qiu Chan's aura had noticeably increased. As Qiu Chan finished absorbing the essence, the small green snake beside her immediately opened its mouth, releasing a suction force. The 3 corpses shrank continuously, and were finally swallowed by Xiaoqing's stomach. Burp! Xiaoqing burped with satisfaction. Fu Changsheng blinked. He had almost forgotten that Xiaoqing had devoured the bodies of Li Changte and the Green Wolf Demon last time they were on Raymond. Xiaoqing and Qichen, one devouring corpses and the other absorbing souls, worked in perfect harmony, saving him the trouble of dealing with the scene. We can't stay here any longer. Fu Changsheng placed Qichen and Xiaoqing's snake into the 100 Ghosts banner and the Spirit Beast bag, respectively, and immediately fled. However, he didn't know that the moment Li Wente's soul lamp went out, a hurricane erupted within the Li family. Terrified, the 3rd elder of the Li family, who guarded the soul lamp, immediately fled to the back mountain and, without warning, barged into the bamboo courtyard of the Li ancestor. The clan leader was also there, seemingly discussing something. Upon seeing the 3rd elder's imprudent entrance, his brows furrowed. The 3rd elder, however, looked at the ancestor with a look of grief. Ancestor, Wente's soul lamp is out. What? The Li clan leader's pupils shrank, and he instinctively glanced at the ancestor. At that moment, the aura of Patriarch Li became chaotic. His usually calm face now revealed a surging hatred. He struck the 8 immortals table with one palm. With a bang, the table instantly shattered into powder. Mobilize the entire clan. No matter the cost, we must find Wiener's murderer. Go. Yes, Patriarch. Li Wente was Patriarch Li's only direct bloodline in the world. He had always been like a little ancestor in the Li family. Patriarch Li did not dare to neglect it and immediately got up and sent people to investigate. Less than half a day passed. Clan leader Li returned to the bamboo forest courtyard in the back mountain and bowed to Ancestor Li, saying, Ancestor, the soul lamps of Wente and Rute went out almost at the same time, and Rute was in charge of keeping an eye on Fu Changsheng. Our spies reported that Wente and the other 2 followed Fu Changsheng to the Black Forest outside the Black Market, and the positioning symbols on their bodies also disappeared in the Black Forest. Wente's death was most likely caused by Fu Changsheng. In addition, the clan members saw Fu Changli riding a green wolf monster cub on Limang Mountain. At that time, Changte died outside the green wolf monster's nest. Changte's death was most likely caused by Fu Changsheng. Ancestor, This Fu Changsheng relied on the support of the Shangguan family to annihilate our Li family descendants one by one. This child Fu Changsheng must not be left alive. Under the leadership of Fu Changsheng, the Fu family has shown signs of revival in the past year or two. The two families are sworn enemies. In a few years, when the Fu family has grown stronger, it will be extremely difficult for the Li family to eliminate the Fu family. Patriarch Li narrowed his eyes slightly. HMPH, the Fu family thinks they can be worry-free with the Shangguan family by their side. How naive! Just because we can't take action ourselves doesn't mean others can't. Patriarch, you mean? Clan leader Li shuddered, then frowned. After a moment's thought, he advised, the last time the southern barbarians attacked Luofang Mountain, the Shangguan family questioned us. I'm afraid they have suspicions, but they just lack evidence. If it happens again, and the truth is revealed, I'm afraid no one in our Li family will survive. What are you afraid of? If you don't tell me, I won't tell you. Are the southern barbarians so foolish as to go to the Shangguan family to complain? Don't worry, I'll take action personally this time, and there will be absolutely no mistakes. Patriarch Li's lifespan was drawing to a close. He couldn't wait for the slow process of destroying the Fu family. He showed great patience by not charging directly onto Luofang Mountain and slaughtering every one of the Fu family members one by one. On the other side, after emerging from the Black Forest, Fu Changsheng made his way almost without stopping. As he reached the Changliu River, his mind buzzed, and the familiar mechanical voice echoed again, you have eliminated the hidden danger of Li Wente for the family, and you have earned 20 family contribution points. In other words, he now had 38 family contribution points. If he accumulated 12 more, he could enter the lottery again. Upon returning to the mountain, he immediately summoned his eldest brother and the others, and as the clan leader, issued an order, no one is allowed to enter or leave Luofang Mountain for the foreseeable future. Li Wente was the darling of the Li Patriarch. His death would likely cause the Li family to go into a state of panic. Entering the secret chamber, Fu Changsheng slapped his storage bag. A flash of light appeared, and 3 boxes fell to the ground. This was found on GXIU's body. He opened the box with a white background and leaf patterns, revealing a pill bottle inside. He took it out, examined it, and sniffed it. It should be a first-grade, low-grade detoxification pill. GXIU had taken this pill to cure the poison from the silver-spotted snake. Fu Changsheng opened the remaining 2 boxes. One contained the ancient book GXIU had sold. Flipping through it, he saw that it indeed contained the Earth Escape Talisman and the Body Immobilization Talisman. The other box also contained a pill bottle. Inside were 2 elixirs, each the size of a soybean, with a pleasant jasmine scent. However, his knowledge of elixirs was limited, and he had no idea what this one was for. Guess I'll have to ask Mei Zhen. Fu Changsheng immediately produced the J Talisman for communication and described the pill's shape, color, and flavor. A moment passed. Liu Mizhan sent a message, Brother Changsheng, based on your description, this should be a ki-boosting pill. Check the bottom of the bottle to see if there's a Yundan Hall mark. Yundan Hall is the only place around here that sells ki-boosting pills. Chapter 27 Breakthrough, Firethorn. Fu Changsheng glanced at the bottom of the bottle and indeed saw the mark of a cloud. A delighted expression crossed his face. The ki-boosting pill was a first-grade, mid-grade elixir, perfect for him right now. Although he only had 2, refining them would put him on the fast track to a breakthrough to the 5th level of ki training. This time, not only had he successfully eliminated the troublesome Li Wente, but he had also obtained 2 free talisman-making instructions. Fu Changsheng was very satisfied. After emerging from the secret room, he handed the ancient book to Molan, saying, Molan, please copy down the instructions. Fu Molan flipped open the book and saw that it contained instructions for a first-grade, top-grade talisman. She was surprised and delighted. Of course, she didn't ask where the book came from, but quickly copied it and handed the original back to Fu Changsheng. Fu Changsheng nodded slightly. Turning back into the secret room, he was about to begin making talismans. A familiar mechanical voice suddenly echoed in his mind, Ling, you've brought back 2 recipes for crafting first-grade, top-grade talismans for the clan, earning 20 clan contribution points. Fu Changsheng's eyes lit up, and he put down the talisman pen. He glanced at the control panel and saw that his clan contribution points had dramatically increased from 38 to 58. This meant he could draw once and redeem 4 pieces of information. Without hesitation, Fu Changsheng said, redeem the lottery. He had won good items in the previous 5 draws, but he didn't know what this time would bring. A humming sound surged from the control panel, and the clan contribution value on the panel dropped from 58 to 8. The next moment, he felt a box suddenly appear in his sleeve. The box was white with dragon patterns. Although this wasn't his first draw, Changsheng was still a little nervous. He opened the box and saw a cloth bag inside. Huh? What's this? The bag opened, revealing 5 fiery red seeds. The moment he touched the red seed, a message flooded into his mind. Firethorn, a first-grade, premium spiritual plant. When its fruit matures, the seeds it produces, stimulated by mana, can instantly grow into a thorny vine. This vine is equivalent to a first-grade, premium magical weapon, capable of easily breaching the diamond barrier. However, once stimulated, the seeds cannot regenerate, they are disposable. Changsheng's eyes lit up. This firethorn seed is actually equivalent to a first-grade, premium magical weapon. Not bad, he was very pleased with this lottery. Although it was a disposable item, this firethorn could be planted. He planned to keep one for self-defense, one as a backup seed, and give the remaining 3 to his eldest brother to plant, hoping that next year would yield more fruit and yield more firethorn seeds. Currently, he didn't have a single offensive magical weapon. Upon learning of the firethorn's efficacy, eldest brother Changren felt a sudden weight lifted from his shoulders. After careful consideration, he said with embarrassment, "Master, since this firethorn is a top-grade, first-grade plant, the spiritual energy it requires is naturally not something a lower-grade, first-grade spiritual field can provide. To successfully cultivate it, we must either use spirit stones to set up a spirit-gathering array within the spiritual field, or plant it near a spiritual spring. However, if we plant it near a spiritual spring, our cultivation time there would have to be shortened from 15 days a month to 10. The spiritual spring was already insufficient. Clearly, the second option wasn't feasible." Changsheng took out the spirit stones he'd used to sell talismans and said, "Brother, then use the spirit stones to set up a spirit gathering array. Once the firethorn grows, whether for personal use or for sale, it will be a worthwhile business." "Master, I will take good care of it and ensure that the firethorn bears fruit." Changsheng nodded slightly. As he returned to the secret room to prepare to take the key-boosting pill and cultivate, a familiar mechanical voice echoed in his mind again. "Ling, you have brought the family a first-grade, top-grade firethorn seed, earning 6 family contribution points." The family contribution points on the dashboard suddenly jumped from 8 to 14. This meant he could redeem 7 pieces of intelligence. However, to focus on cultivating peacefully, he held off on exchanging intelligence for the time being. The technique completed a small cycle, expelling the foul air from his body. Changsheng then pinched a key-boosting pill and swallowed it. The key-boosting pill was mild and melted almost instantly, its potent medicinal power permeating his limbs and bones. In cultivation, time passes. In the blink of an eye, 3 months flew by. Changsheng, who had been meditating with his eyes closed, suddenly opened them. He made a hand seal with his right hand, and a gentle breeze suddenly blew through the secret room. The wind trembled slightly in the air and instantly transformed into 3 wind blades. Ding, ding, ding. The 3 wind blades shot into the stone wall with lightning speed, leaving 3 deep grooves. Changsheng's eyes lit up with joy. Indeed, after reaching the 4th level of key training perfection, even first-grade, mid-grade spells can be cast instantly, and the number has tripled. Changsheng was very satisfied. He didn't rush out of seclusion. After all, Li Wente's death would likely cause the Li family to be in turmoil for a while. He planned to practice first-grade, top-grade Earth Escape talismans. After all, if he succeeded in refining them, it would not only mean joining the ranks of top-grade talisman makers, but also give him an escape hatch. Several months passed like this. From time to time, the sound of exploding talismans could be heard in the secret room. After a few months, the entire floor of the secret room was covered with a dense mess of waste paper. Unlike first-grade, mid-grade, and low-grade talismans, Earth Escape talismans were even more difficult to create than he had imagined. One of the main reasons was his low cultivation level. Every time he tried to seal the talisman's power in the final step, he couldn't control it, causing the talisman to explode. The talisman pen in his hand, while surprisingly effective when used on mid to low-grade first-level talismans, lost its power when used on high-grade talismans. Finally, after another stack of talisman paper had been used up, He had finally successfully crafted a ground escape talisman. Looking at the talisman in his hand, a satisfied smile crossed his face. After 6 months of seclusion, it's time to emerge. After all, the talisman paper had been used up. Emerging from the secret room, he saw that the 7-star grass in the spiritual field had been harvested and replanted with red marrow rice, now knee-high. His eldest brother, Fu Changren, who was busy working in the spiritual field, immediately came forward upon seeing Fu Changsheng. "Master, we're out of talisman paper. I just made a new batch and will bring it to you, no hurry." Fu Changsheng smiled, holding out the successfully refined ground escape talisman. The eldest brother, Fu Changren, was stunned for a moment. He sensed the immense spiritual power contained within the earth escape talisman, and his eyes lit up with joy. He immediately shouted his congratulations to the Patriarch on his advancement to first rank, top-grade talisman maker. For Kagan families like theirs, being a first-rank, top-grade talisman maker is the pinnacle of skill. Whether the talismans they craft are kept for personal use or sold, they are far superior to those of ordinary first-rank, mid-grade, or lower-grade talisman makers. Fu Changsheng smiled and said, "By the way, how's third brother's spiritual wine brewing going?" If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Recovery Wine. The opportunity to destroy the Li family has come. Once the red marrow rice matured, he handed it over to the other party for brewing. Third brother Fu Changli also remained in the back mountain for a year, never setting foot outside. Eldest brother Fu Changren was also filled with anticipation, though still a little worried. "Master, third brother hasn't emerged from the back mountain yet, and we don't dare disturb him. How about you go check on him?" After all, that was tens of thousands of kilograms of red marrow rice. Eldest brother Fu Changren had painstakingly cultivated it, and he was more anxious than anyone else, fearing it would be wasted. Fu Changsheng nodded. "Okay, I'll go check on him." Curious, eldest brother Fu Changren followed. On the way, they reported back on the clan's recent situation. Liu Runzi's injuries would be healed, and she would be able to leave seclusion in a few days. Molan, with her exceptional talent for talisman making, had also successfully crafted an underground escape talisman, becoming a first-grade, superior talisman maker. It's worth noting that Molan, despite not training at the Spirit Spring well, had made significant progress in the past 6 months. As for the fourth sister, she had been guarding the yangang stone mine on Limang Mountain. "Master," the fourth sister wrote, saying that in 10 days or so, the yangang stone will be completely mined. As they spoke, the two reached the cellar in the back mountain. Just then, a burst of wild laughter erupted from the cellar. "Haha, first grade, lower grade recovery wine. I finally succeeded in refining it." Upon hearing this, Fu Changsheng's eyes lit up. His eldest brother, Fu Changren, following behind him, let out a long sigh. They reached the cellar in 2 steps. The rich aroma of wine greeted them. With a slight sniff, they immediately felt their internal ki circulate. "Good wine," Fu Changsheng said as he descended the stone steps. The disheveled third brother, Fu Changli, excitedly handed the wine spoon to Fu Changsheng. "Master, Changli has lived up to everyone's expectations and successfully crafted a first-grade, lower-grade recovery wine. Please enjoy it." Very good, very good." Fu Changsheng was delighted. He took the spoon and tasted it, discovering that the wine had the aroma of red marrow rice. It was sweet and mellow, but not strong. As it entered his stomach, he felt an immediate warmth, and with a little practice, he could refine it into true ki. "Third brother, you've worked hard this year." Fu Changsheng handed the spoon to his eldest brother and patted the third brother on the shoulder. After a year of busy brewing, the third brother's belly had disappeared. Fu Changli's face was brimming with excitement. "Master, I just had a sudden thought. If we can improve the recipe and use first-grade, mid-quality spiritual rice, we might be able to brew a first-grade, mid-quality spiritual wine. I need to improve the recipe while the inspiration is still there." "Okay, I won't bother you then." Fu Changsheng gazed at the overflowing cellar of spiritual wine, his mind racing with ideas for how to monetize it. Selling so much spiritual wine on a stall wouldn't be suitable, And it looked like his third brother would surely be able to brew even more spiritual wines with different recipes in the future. If that were the case, it would be better to establish a reputation for Fu's spiritual wine right from the start. So, he needed to think carefully about how to sell it. He asked his eldest brother for a batch of talisman paper. After entering the secret room and sitting down, he checked the data on the dashboard. He hadn't exchanged intelligence for over 6 months, and since he'd been guarding the mountains for that long, he'd only been able to learn about what was happening outside from his spies. After a moment's thought, he immediately said, "Exchange intelligence, ahem." A burst of yellow light surged across the intelligence dashboard. Then, lines of text appeared. 1. Your third brother will develop a recipe for a first-grade, mid-grade spirit wine in 6 months. However, due to the lack of first-grade, mid-grade spirit rice in the clan, this recipe will be put aside for several years. 2. Your spirit pet, the little green snake, is already at the peak of the first-grade mid-stage. After devouring a few more cultivators' corpses, it will be able to break through to the first-grade late stage, at which point it will awaken a bloodline magic. 3. Shangguan Hongyu successfully broke through to the 9th level of key training last month. The Shangguan family intended to arrange a marriage between Shangguan Hongyu and the young patriarch of the Nanguang family, an 8th-grade family in Huainan Prefecture. Shangguan Hongyu flatly refused, telling the elders that she already had someone she loved for. A flood swept into the Li family's moon-watching lake, flushing several first-tier cypress bellfish. 5. 2 days later, Ancestor Li will meet again with the elders of the southern barbarian Xianlong tribe in a cave north of Kili Mountain to determine a strategy for attacking your clan. 10 days later, your Lufang Mountain's protective formation will be breached by the formation-breaking beads provided by Ancestor Li. The southern barbarians will slaughter your Fu clan, and from then on, there will be no more Lufang Mountain Fu clan. What? Fu Changsheng was shocked when he saw the last piece of information. The last time the clan mountain was breached, it was indeed the Li family's scheming. This was within his expectations. And these repeated attacks on the Li family were largely motivated by forcing them to reveal their true colors. He had originally planned to use the silver-spotted venomous snake to inflict a heavy blow on the Li family, forcing them to suffer further setbacks. This would necessitate a risky move. He never imagined that they would be so impulsive, joining forces with the southern barbarians again in such a short time. Fu Changsheng sneered, "I was just afraid you wouldn't take action." Ever since the clan mountain was breached, the opportunity he'd spoken of to annihilate the Li family, the perfect time and location, was this very opportunity. In the Great Zhou. Collaborating with the southern barbarians. Regardless of the rank of the aristocratic family, once caught, the punishment would be the extermination of all 9 generations of their clan. Fu Changsheng pulled the communication jade talisman, engraved with the Shangguan family's seal, from his storage bag. His lips moved as he spoke rapidly. After a moment, Shangguan Hongyu's voice rang out, "Fellow Taoist Fu, this is a matter of great importance. Confirm that your information is correct, fellow Taoist Shangguan, I guarantee it with my life." "Okay, hold your ground and wait for my news." The jade talisman's aura faded. Fu Changsheng took a deep breath and looked in the direction of the Li family. A wave of excitement and agitation rising. It took him a long time to calm down. He picked up the talisman pen and continued crafting the earth-escaping talisman. The next morning, a rapid buzzing sound suddenly emanated from his waist. It was Shangguan Hongyu's voice that rang out, "Come to Limeng Mountain, so fast." If so, it must have taken a foundation establishment cultivator flying on a sword to reach their Nanyang County from Anyang County in half a day. Fu Changsheng immediately placed the talisman in his storage bag. As he left, he carefully instructed his elder brother, Fu Changren, before donning his invisibility cloak and leaving Luifang Mountain. To conceal his whereabouts, he chose a narrow path up a mountain instead of the ferry. After all, the Li family must have someone watching their clan's territory. As he reached the mountain, he paused when he was met with a whiff of a young woman's body fragrance. Fu Changsheng looked closely and saw that Shangguan Feng, carrying Shangguan Hongyu, had suddenly landed above him on a flying sword. Shangguan Chen, also standing on a flying sword, was also standing. Over 2 years had passed since he last saw Shangguan Chen, and he had surprisingly broken through from the peak of key training to the foundation establishment stage. Chapter 29, Destroying the Li Family. Although it wasn't their first meeting, Fu Changsheng was still somewhat nervous. He bowed and said, "Greetings, Senior Feng, Master Chen, and fellow Taoist Shangguan. Shangguan Chen flicked his index finger, and a stream of true energy shot into the air. An 8-trigram formation flashed and enveloped the four of them. After the three landed, Fu Changsheng wasted no time. He immediately disclosed the specific location of the meeting between Patriarch Li and the elders of the southern barbarian Xianlong tribe, even providing the date. Such detailed information clearly didn't seem fabricated. Shangguan Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. This Li family has truly grown powerful, even colluding with foreign tribes. Shangguan Feng immediately produced a jade communication talisman and moved his lips several times. The talisman's aura faded. Shangguan Feng instructed Shangguan Chen to lurk at the Li family's mountain gate. If he had evidence of Patriarch Li's collusion with foreigners, they would immediately launch an attack on the Li family's territory, leaving them no chance to recover. Shangguan Feng left. Shangguan Chen's gaze fell on Fu Changsheng. Young friend Fu, how many members of your Fu family are ready to fight? 5 in total. Okay, you and your clansmen will defend the Li family's back hill. Remember, don't let any escape. Our Shangguan family's style has always been to root out the grass. Yes, senior. Fu Changsheng's heartbeat quickened. He was even more reluctant to let the Li family have the chance to rise than the Shangguan family. Shangguan Chen gave a few more detailed instructions, removed the formation, and left. Shangguan Hongyu, who was half a step behind him, discreetly slipped a talisman to Fu Changsheng and said in a voice transmission, "Once the battle begins, I won't be able to take care of you. This is a second-level flowing light talisman. Keep it safe, just in case." Fu Changsheng was stunned for a moment, holding the flowing light talisman, which still retained some of his body's warmth, with an inexplicable emotion. Before descending Limang Mountain, he specifically brought his fourth sister, Fu Changli, down the mountain as well. As they took the smaller path back to the clan's land, he solemnly addressed her, "Fourth sister, go and call my eldest brother, my third brother, Molan, and Runzi to the meeting hall." "Yes, Patriarch." The last time fourth sister Fu Changli had seen Fu Changsheng so nervous was when the clan's land had been breached. Could the southern barbarians be making a comeback? Thinking of this, Fu Changli couldn't help but feel uneasy. Although their clan had a second-tier protective formation, they lacked a single late-stage key training cultivator among their members. Their strength was still far too weak. Less than half a cup of tea had passed. The Fu family gathered in the meeting hall for the first time. Everyone exchanged glances. There was a vague sense of impending tension. A battle was imminent. Fu Changsheng didn't hold back. When he explained what was about to happen, everyone in the hall was stunned. The eldest brother, Fu Changren, looked incredulous. "Master, are you saying that the Li family was behind the southern barbarians' invasion of our clan 2.5 years ago? This was treason. How dare the Li family?" And they'd done it again and again. As they realized what was happening, their old and new hatreds for the Li family surged through their hearts. They gritted their teeth and said, "Master, rest assured. Even if it costs us our lives, we won't let a single Li leave Nishou Mountain alive." They all went to the cemetery in the back mountain to burn incense for their ancestors. Late at night, they finally exited Luofang Mountain through a secret underground passage and ambushed the Li family's home on the back slopes of Nishou Mountain. At the rear hall of Nishou Mountain, the Li clan leader knelt in the ancestral hall all night, praying for the ancestors' journey to be smooth. He felt a certain unease about his ancestors' plan to wipe out the Fu family. Things like this might work out the first time, but the second time, there were bound to be some flaws. If it were any other matter, it would be fine, but this was a serious crime that could lead to the extermination of the entire clan. He had been restless for the past few days. This uneasiness grew stronger as time went by, and he felt a sense of impending disaster. "No, I can't just sit there and wait for death. It's better to be safe than sorry." He had to evacuate the clan's elite disciples first. Clan leader Li anxiously rose from his cushion. Kneeling for so long, he stumbled and nearly fell. As he pushed open the door, he was met by hurriedly approaching guards. His heart skipped a beat, wondering if the ancestors' secret had been exposed. Clan leader Li forced himself to remain calm and scolded, "What happened? Why are you so flustered?" Reporting to the clan leader, "Our clan members have reported that a wildfire has suddenly broken out in the Yangang wood forest on the West Mountain. The fire is quite severe. Uncle Seventh has sent a special message asking us to send reinforcements these past few days. Just in case." Clan leader Li had the mountain protection formation operating at full speed and had also ordered his clan members not to leave Nisho Mountain without his permission. The yangang wood was a low-grade, first-grade spiritual wood. It was the Li family's greatest source of income. If it caught fire, they would have to tighten their belts for decades to come. Without a moment's hesitation, he shouted, "Quickly, gather all the clan members above the third level of key training at the mountain gate. Send them to the West Mountain to put out the fire immediately." Quick, clan leader Li spoke as he sprinted down the mountain, intending to rush to the West Mountain to see the extent of the fire. He cast a spell into the pass array token, and a brilliant white light surged from it, landing on the light shield ahead. No, at the critical moment, clan leader Li shuddered. The fire in West Mountain was strangely out of place. Why did it happen on the day the ancestor met with the elders of the Xianlong tribe? Clan leader Li immediately cast a spell on the array token, intending to immediately deactivate the formation. Just as the formation's light curtain was about to close, a humming sound erupted. An 8-trigram array suddenly appeared within it, a brilliant yellow light illuminating it, supporting the healing formation. A sword rainbow shot through the gap. The rainbow light faded. It was Shangguan Chen. With a flick of his sleeve, a suction force instantly snatched the formation card from Patriarch Li's hand. With a few incantations, the entire formation's light curtain suddenly opened, and a spaceship leaped in. 10 members of the Shangguan clan's 9th-level key training law enforcement team stood majestically aboard. "Master Chen, I'm sorry to hear that you've arrived. May I ask what brings you here?" Patriarch Li's heart was filled with turmoil. But as the clan leader, he managed to maintain his composure. The ancestor had always acted with meticulous care. Even if the Shangguan clan suspected something, they could do nothing to the Li clan without catching them in the act. Shangguan Chen sneered, "You're still playing dumb even when death is imminent." With a flick of his index finger, a photopod unfolded in midair. It showed a scene of a clandestine meeting between Patriarch Li and the elders of the Xianlong tribe. Clan leader Li's face paled instantly. Shangguan Chen said coldly, "The Niusho Mountain Li family is guilty of colluding with foreign tribes. According to the laws of the Great Zhou, all 9 clans must be executed. My men, act." Chapter 30 Bloodline Magic. Fu Changsheng remained motionless in the back mountain. When he heard shouts and cries of killing, his eyes lit up. This signaled that Shangguan Feng on Kuli Mountain had successfully apprehended Patriarch Li. The heavy weight that had weighed on his heart suddenly fell to the ground. He waited for about half a cup of tea. Suddenly, streaks of green light shone from the ground behind the mountain. They were the frightened remnants of the Li family, about 7 in number. All 7 were young Li family members under 20, with cultivation levels at the 3rd or 4th level of key training. The moment they appeared, the brushwood erupted in a hissing sound of snakes. Within the brush, silver-spotted venomous snakes reared up, surrounding them in a circle. Before they could react, a gust of fishy wind blew in their faces, their venom transforming into arrows that shot towards them like a barrage. "Brother, what's going on? When did so many silver-spotted venomous snakes hide in our back mountain?" Several younger voices, tinged with tears, hurriedly cried. Li Kite, the only one in the lead, a 4th-level key training master, threw a paper umbrella into the air. It spun, blocking all the venom. He glanced around cautiously and said quickly, "I'll handle this venomous snake. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th brothers, each take 1 person and flee in 3 different directions. Quick." In a life-or-death situation, the other 6 didn't hesitate. They slapped a talisman on their bodies, and instantly, shields of light rose up, swiftly fleeing in 3 directions. Fu Changsheng, hiding in the bushes, took a quick look and immediately ordered his eldest brother and the others to split into 3 groups to pursue, while he remained to deal with Li Kite. Seeing Fu Changli riding away on the green wolf demon, Li Kite suddenly remembered that his brother had died at the hands of a tide of green wolf monsters. His mind raced, and his eyes flashed with hatred. He glared at Fu Changsheng fiercely. "Fu Changsheng, you killed my brother. The vengeance of killing a brother is irreconcilable." Li Kite immediately summoned a dark magical weapon. As he infused a spell into it, it swelled in the wind, transforming into the size of a mountain. He swung his sword finger, urging the 1,000 peaks to charge at Fu Changsheng with a roar. Die, the 1,000 peaks weighed 1,000 pounds. If struck, Fu Changsheng would be reduced to pulp in an instant. However, Fu Changsheng didn't dodge or evade. He swung the 100 Ghosts banner fiercely. A chilling gust of wind blew. A red-clad female ghost, Chu Chan, flashed out, roaring to the sky. Thousands of hair whizzed out in unison, unexpectedly blocking the unstoppable thousand peaks. Fu Changsheng formed a seal with his right hand, and with a flash of yellow light, he disappeared into the earth. Li Kite's pupils constricted, and he spat a mouthful of blood at the thousand peaks. A spiritual light surged from the thousand peaks, seemingly free from Chu Chan's red hair. He quickly extended his hand, blocking the thousand peaks before him. The next moment, he felt a sharp pain in his ankle. Looking down, he saw 3 wind blades bursting out from the ground, 1 landing on his ankle, 2 striking at his face. In this critical moment, Li Kite reacted with remarkable speed, enduring the pain of his right ankle being severed at the root, and tapped the thousand peaks in front of him. Ding ding. The wind blades were blocked by the thousand peaks. Meanwhile, the paper fan that had been floating above his head could no longer withstand the venom. It sizzled and crackled with a crackling sound. Li Kite's attack failed, and unwilling to continue the fight, he bit his tongue and sprayed it onto a blood-colored talisman in his hand. A stream of blood gushed out, and in the next moment, it enveloped him, instantly vanishing in a streak of blood. In the air, the other party's warning lingered. Fu Changsheng, just wait. Li Kite, also at the 4th level of key training, relied on his numerous magical instruments to escape. Fu Changsheng sneered, "You want to escape? Can you?" With a flick of his right hand, a tracking talisman was activated, transforming into a streak of rainbow light and rapidly flying south. Fu Changsheng applied several speed talismans, chasing him for about half a cup of tea. The tracking talisman landed on a tall sycamore tree. Fu Changsheng glanced at the blood dripping from the tree's base. His eyes narrowed slightly. He waved 100 Ghosts banner again, and a chilling wind blew. Autumn Cham flashed out from the banner, its thousands of hairs, seemingly possessed of eyes, whizzing towards the canopy of the sycamore tree. A moment later, a scream echoed. 1,000 strands of hair wrapped around the pale-faced Li Kite floated before Fu Changsheng. Li Kite's eyes were filled with venom. "Fu Changsheng, even if I become a ghost, I will not let you go." Fu Changsheng formed a seal with his right hand, and a wind blade slashed across the man's neck. With a thud, a large head fell to the ground. The female ghost Autumn Chan immediately opened her mouth, and a ball of white spirit rose from her skull, swallowed by Chu Chan. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The small green snake hidden in Fu Changsheng's sleeve also dodged, leaping to the ground. It opened its mouth and swallowed Li Kite instantly. Even if Li Kite wanted to transform into a fierce ghost, he wouldn't even have the chance to reincarnate. After all this, Fu Changsheng waved his hand, and the fallen Qianchong Peak floated up. The Qianchong Peak was a top-grade, first-grade magical weapon. Even Chu Chan was barely able to deal with it, demonstrating its power. Satisfied, Fu Changsheng tossed the peak into his storage bag. He returned to the back hills to stake out his position. Half a cup of tea later, his eldest brother, Fu Changguan, and the other 4 men, along with the wolf, each returned with a corpse. The fleeing Li family members were almost all at the 2nd level of key training, while his eldest brother, 4th sister, and Runzi were all at the 4th level. Molan and his 3rd brother were at the 3rd level. With the aid of the green wolf demon, the 6 escapees had no chance of fighting back. Fu Changguan, the eldest brother, was overcome with emotion. "Master, we have fulfilled our mission. We have slain all the Li family villains. 2.5 years ago, all the family elders had perished in battle." The pent-up anger within the group finally eased briefly at that moment. Fu Changsheng nodded slightly. He had everyone re-enter their original positions while silently releasing the little green snake and the female ghost Chu Chan. He removed the heads of the 6 corpses lying there before allowing Little Green Snake to devour them. Little Green Snake's aura clearly surged. It had impressively broken through from the middle to the late first stage. After this breakthrough, Little Green Snake would awaken a bloodline magic. Fu Changsheng was filled with anticipation. He tried to contact Little Green Snake, but she relayed intermittent messages, suggesting it would take several months to master this bloodline magic. The sounds of fighting ahead were clearly drawing to a close. After a while, Shangguan Hongyu's voice suddenly rang from his waist. 40 Li family cultivators have been annihilated. 7 more have escaped from the back mountain. Fellow Taoist Fu, did you see any of them? Fellow Taoist Shangguan, we also sniped those 7 who escaped. Alright, come to the front mountain. Fu Changsheng took a deep breath and emerged from the bushes. From then on, the Li family was no longer a part of Nishou Mountain. The Li family, which had fought with the Fu family for nearly 100 years, was finally destroyed. Chapter 31, Loot. The first time Fu Changsheng set foot on the Li family's land, he saw a man-made Wangaiyu lake excavated within Nishou Mountain, connected to the Changliu River beyond. The Li family had settled on a small island within the lake. The island was filled with rich spiritual energy. 90 acres of spiritual fields had been cultivated within the mountain, 40 acres more than the Fu family owned. Clearly, their Nishou Mountain spiritual vein had been cultivated from a low-grade to a mid-grade one. 40 Li corpses lay before the meeting hall. The Shangguan family's law enforcement team had already split up and headed for the Li family's secular city. Any Li family member who is a direct relative of a cultivator would be executed. The rest, regardless of gender or age, would be exiled to the mining area. From then on, their descendants would be forbidden from even a single step outside the mines, bound forever as miners. In the meeting hall, Shangguan Chen sat at the head of the table. Seeing Fu Changsheng enter, he pointed to his right, a smile on his face. "Friend Fu, thanks to your intelligence, we were able to wipe out the Li family traitors this time. According to the laws of the Great Zhou, your Fu family will receive 30 merit points this time. I will report this to the court when I return to the clan." Fu Changsheng was delighted. In order for the Fu family to advance to the 9th rank, besides the previously mentioned requirement of 2 foundation establishment cultivators, there was another crucial condition, accumulating 100 merit points. Adding the 10 merit points accumulated by their ancestors, they were close to halfway to 100, making advancement possible. Becoming a 9th rank family would grant them fiefdoms, allowing them, like the Shangguan family, to legitimately receive tributes from the lesser-ranked families. Most importantly, the clan's land would be protected by the imperial seal, imbued with the dynasty's aura, and the path to cultivation would be smoother. Fu Changsheng quickly stood and bowed in thanks. Shangguan Chen continued, "A new family will inherit the Li family's spiritual vein, but your Fu family has rendered great service, so a reward is in order. Elder Feng's intention is to grant the Yangang wood forest, west of the Li family, to your Fu family. Are you willing? The Li family's yangang wood forest is well managed, generating at least 1,000 spirit stones annually, a continuous income that will benefit future generations." How could Fu Changsheng not be pleased? Unexpectedly forgiving of the Shangguan family's generosity, he bowed again in gratitude. Shangguan Chen inquired a few more times, then waved his hand, intending to restructure the Li family's mountain protection formation. Fu Changsheng followed Shangguan Hongyu to the door and, looking at the corpses of the Li family scattered across the ground, tentatively asked, "Miss Shangguan, the thieves of the Li family, in collusion with the southern barbarians, have caused the deaths of all our Fu family elders. Would you allow me to take the bodies of the Li family and pay my respects to our ancestors' graves?" The bodies were originally to be brought back to the Shangguan family for prosecution. Seeing Fu Changsheng's eyes tear up, Shangguan Hongyu hesitated for a moment before saying, "All right, you can take these corpses away." Then, she pulled a pill bottle from her sleeve and handed it to Fu Changsheng. "This is the spoils I won this time. It's of no great use to me, so you can take it." The words "break the barrier pill" were clearly written on the bottle. This was used by cultivators in the middle stage of key training to break through bottlenecks. He was already on the verge of a breakthrough at the 4th level, and taking this pill would naturally propel him to the 5th level. Fu Changsheng couldn't bear to refuse, and immediately thanked him. "Miss Shangguan, if you need anything in the future, just tell me. I will definitely do my best to help." Shangguan Hongyu had already repaid him for saving his life. Fu Changsheng cast a spell on the 40 corpses. In a flash of light, the corpses shrank and were stored in a storage bag. He descended from Li's Nishou Mountain and returned directly to the Fu family. Upon learning that they had not only earned 30 merits but also a yangang wood forest, the Fu family members were thrilled. They reached the back mountain and placed the Li family's corpses before their ancestors' tombs. Fu Changsheng solemnly said, "Grandfather, the Li family's thieves have been completely annihilated. As for the Xianlong tribe, Changsheng will also annihilate them as soon as possible to avenge the blood feud that wiped out our clan." With that, Fu Changsheng held the incense and bowed 3 times. As he stood up, the familiar voice echoed in his mind again, "Ling, you have successfully avenged your fallen clansmen and eradicated the Li family, your sworn enemy. You have earned 66 family contribution points." Fu Changsheng was delighted. This would allow him to enter the lottery again. However, before that, He planned to focus on his breakthrough in seclusion until he reached the 5th level of key training. After everyone came forward to pay their respects, Fu Changsheng then waved his sleeve, and Yu Chan, the female ghost from the 100 Ghosts banner, flashed out. Her mouth slightly opened, and the souls of the Li family members from the corpses floated up, drawn into her stomach. Seeing this, the Fu family members looked at Fu Changsheng with a touch of awe. No wonder the Patriarch had single-handedly slain Li Kite, the master of the Thousand Peaks. After absorbing 40 souls, Yu Chan's blood color actually faded considerably. Fu Changsheng's eyes lit up with joy. He immediately slapped his spirit beast bag. A flash of green light appeared. The little green snake stood upright, its mouth wide open. A swirling green light condensed into a small vortex, sucking the corpses from the ground into the vortex and then swallowing them all. Burp, the little green snake burped, its cultivation level, having recently reached the late 1st stage, finally stabilizing. Neither body nor soul spared. Everyone in the Fu family felt a tingling sensation on their scalps at the sight. They'd been hiding in the bushes behind Nishou Mountain, unable to see clearly, but now witnessing it firsthand, the sheer magnitude of the scene still left the eldest and third brothers a bit uneasy. The 4th sister and the others, however, were a bit excited. Master, just now, back at Nishou Mountain, I saw you summon a swarm of silver-spotted venomous snakes. Could you give me a few to raise? 4th sister Fu Changli had a natural affinity for demonic beasts. Fu Changsheng assumed she was a girl, too sly to care for something as slippery as a silver-spotted venomous snake. Hearing this, he chuckled. They're in the moat at the foot of our mountain. Take as many as you can raise, however, just in case. Fu Changsheng still released the little green snake. Before you tame those venomous snakes, let Zhao King stay with you for a while. Thank you, Patriarch. 4th sister Fu Changli joyfully lifted the little green snake into her arms. The little green snake usually looked uneasy, but it allowed Fu Changli to play with it, appearing extremely comfortable. Fu Changsheng once again confirmed that 4th sister possessed a talent for taming beasts. He planned to explore the outskirts of the eastern wilderness when the two of them had a higher level of cultivation. After the group returned to the meeting room, Fu Changsheng said, Brother, I will leave the responsibility of taking over the Yangang wood forest to you. As for guarding the wood forest, 4th sister will be responsible. She has the green wolf demon by her side, which is more than enough to protect it. Besides, the environment there is more suitable for the purple-horned deer cub. Yes, Patriarch. Fu Changsheng gave a few more instructions. Because he was about to enter seclusion, to avoid any problems, he instructed everyone to stay indoors as much as possible, as before. He also temporarily gave his invisibility cloak to his eldest brother, Fu Changren. After everything was settled, Fu Changsheng closed the secret room, adjusted his body and mind to optimal condition, and began to take the barrier-breaking pill. Chapter 32 Breakthrough, Unexpected Surprise. When Fu Changsheng chose to retreat, the news of the Li family's demise quickly spread throughout Anyang County and even the eastern wasteland. The first to receive the news were the Xianlong tribe. Chief Rong of the Xianlong tribe sat upright in the tent, flanked by tribal elders. Chief Rong's face was grave. The soul lamp of the third elder who met with the Li family has gone out. According to the insider report left at the Shangguan family, the third elder's whereabouts were exposed this time because the new patriarch of Luofang Mountain, Fu Changsheng, tipped off the whole thing. Chief, wasn't that kid who escaped from Luofang Mountain 2.5 years ago only at the 2nd level of key training? The Li family is such a coward that they couldn't even deal with a kid. They deserved to be exterminated, but they only implicated my third brother. Chief Rong frowned. Don't underestimate people from inside the pass. According to the spies, Fu Changsheng broke through to the middle stage of key training a few months ago. Moreover, because he saved Shangguan Hongyu, he got close to the Shangguan family. The Fu family is on the rise. A single spark can start a prairie fire. The Fu family must be on guard. Chief, that's not the case. Could it be that Fu Changsheng dares to come to our tribe to kill us? We're not afraid of 1,000, we're afraid of one. After all, we killed their elders, so they're bound to bear a grudge. Rather than wait for them to become stronger and turn against us, we should proactively strike and eradicate the Fu family. Otherwise, our Xianlong tribe could very well be the next Li family. Before Chief Rong could finish his words, the middle-aged man standing to his left, Yasin, immediately stepped forward, knelt on one knee, and pounded his chest with his right fist. Chief, Yasin has been ordered to go to Anyang County and eliminate the remnants of the Fu family. The deceased third elder was Yasin's father. The vengeance for his father's murder was irreconcilable. Chief Rong could naturally understand the other party's feelings, and Yasin was at the 7th level of key training, while Fu Changsheng, the highest level cultivator in the Fu family, was only at the 4th level. He immediately nodded and said, "Once Li Jia is dead, the Fu family will definitely relax their vigilance. Yasin, you go to Anyang County, wait for the right opportunity, and kill Fu Changsheng first. Without the head of the clan, the Fu family will become a mess, and it will be no problem to defeat them one by one." "Yes, Chief, Yasin will certainly live up to the mission." Anyang County. Upon learning of the Li family's genocide, clan leader Liu was stunned for a long moment, muttering, "The Li family has accumulated over 90 merit points and is about to ascend to the 9th rank. How could they be so foolish as to collude with outsiders?" Liu Mizan, seated nearby, sneered, "They are simply attracted to the Fu family's 50 acres of spiritual farmland and the first-tier spiritual vein in their mountain. The Li family has numerous cultivators, and the Niushou mountain spiritual vein simply can't sustain their cultivation. Furthermore, to ascend to the 9th rank, someone must break through to the foundation establishment stage. Cultivating a foundation establishment cultivator requires a significant amount of spiritual stones." Clan leader Liu, on second thought, finally understood. He glanced at Liu Mizhong with a complex gaze. He had heard some gossip. It was said that the Li family's current fate was due to the Fu family tipping off the Shangguan family. The young man who had come seeking help years ago had, in less than 3 years, quietly eliminated his archenemy, the Li family. Clearly, he was no ordinary person. 4 years, he'd been trying to arrange a marriage between Mizhan and the second son of the Shangguan family. But now, it seemed, he was still far inferior to his niece in terms of discernment. "Mizhan, your marriage to Changsheng is less than 2 years away, so it's almost time to put it on the agenda. I'll send Changsheng an invitation later, once I'm done with clan affairs." Inside the secret room at Luofang Mountain, the Fu family's home, Fu Changsheng's eyes suddenly fluttered open. He formed a hand seal with his right hand, and the next moment, a gust of wind erupted from the secret room, accompanied by several whirring sounds as 6 lightning-fast wind blades pierced the stone wall. Ding, ding, ding. 6-foot-deep grooves were left on the stone wall. Is this the power of the 5th level of key training? Fu Changsheng was both surprised and delighted. Compared to before the breakthrough, he now cast the wind blade technique, condensing wind blades twice as powerful as before, and the power was half as strong as before. No wonder it's harder to break through after reaching the middle stage of key training. It seems the more key I refine, the stronger I become. He looked inward at his danshin. The red key within his danshin had already surged to half its capacity. Once it was full, he could try compressing it, condensing it into liquid, and enter the foundation establishment stage. Fu Changsheng immediately took out Li Kite's Qianchong Peak and refined it. Now he had the black turtle shield for protection, the Qianchong Peak for attack, and the support of the little green snake and the ghost servant Chu Chan. He finally felt a bit more confident. His mind fell on the panel in his sea of consciousness. The family contribution value displayed prominently as 66. Without hesitation, he said, "Redeem for the lottery." He had been very pleased with the prizes in the previous draws, but he didn't know what he would win this time. The panel hummed and trembled slightly, and yellow light converged. As his family contribution value dropped to 16, he felt a box suddenly appear in his sleeve. Although this wasn't his first time participating in the lottery, he was still as excited and nervous as ever. The box was white with leaf patterns. He took a deep breath, opened the box, and upon seeing the contents, Fu Changsheng couldn't help but exclaim, "This is..." Inside the box, a palm-sized flying boat was placed. It's actually a flying boat. Fu Changsheng had never dared to dream of such a flying magical instrument. The only time he had ridden a flying boat was when he and Shangguan Chen returned to Luofang Mountain. Gulp. Fu Changsheng felt like he was dreaming. With a slight tremor, he grasped the flying boat in his right hand. After days of rituals and refinements, he cast a spell upon the boat, and with a flash of azure light, it instantly transformed into a small boat large enough to carry 5 people. Great! It can even carry 5. Kigan cultivators couldn't fly with swords, their only options being a flying boat or a flying spirit pet. Neither of which was something their small family could even dream of. With this flying boat, He wouldn't be confined to Nanyang County anymore, he could even travel to Kili Mountain. He remembered the intelligence reports that Kili Mountain contained 3-colored soil that could improve the quality of spiritual fields. Fu Changsheng tapped the ground with his toes and landed lightly on the flying boat. As he stepped onto the boat, a stream of information flooded into his mind. After digesting it, his eyes lit up. He cast a spell upon the deck, and the flying boat surged with azure light. Then, a light shield descended, completely obscuring the boat. It's even inscribed with a hidden restriction. Fu Changsheng was even more satisfied. He resisted the urge to fly the flying boat for a few laps and put it into his storage bag. His eyes fell on the control panel. He could now redeem 8 more pieces of intelligence. Without hesitation, he said, "Redeem intelligence." Several months passed. He wondered if the system had collected any other useful new intelligence. Chapter 33, The Spawning of Cypress Fish and the Sudden Appearance of Murderous Intent. With a humming sound, the panel vibrated, and a yellow light surged. Then, lines of text appeared before him. 1. A cypress fish that accidentally entered Wagayu Lake is about to spawn, and fry will hatch in the autumn. 2. Your third brother successfully developed a formula for a first-grade, mid-grade spiritual wine the day before yesterday. 3. 3 days later, the Zhang family will move into Niusho Mountain. Zhang Xian'io, the daughter of the Zhang clan leader, is the Taoist partner of Shangguan Wei, the foundation-building elder of the Shangguan clan. Fu Changsheng carefully examined the information. The fact that the cypress fish were about to spawn was a pleasant surprise. Wagayu Lake had originally been under the jurisdiction of the Li family. Since the Zhang family was about to move in, he had to catch the cypress fish before then and raise them in the clan. Raising them would be a lucrative business in the future. As for the newly arrived Zhang family, he had never heard of them before. He had to hurry and research their family history, as the two families would soon live next door to each other. He pushed the door open and stepped out. What greeted him was the ripe, bright yellow-red marrow rice. Seeing Fu Changsheng emerge from his retreat in the fields, eldest brother Fu Changren immediately came to greet him. Sensing Fu Changsheng's aura was remarkably stronger than before, he hurriedly congratulated him. Congratulations, Patriarch, on breaking through to the 5th level of key training, breaking through 3 levels in less than 3 years, a pace that would have made him a remarkable talent even among the aristocratic families of higher rank. Fu Changsheng inquired about any important matters arising within the clan during his retreat. His eldest brother, Fu Changren, shook his head. Patriarch, we have followed your instructions. Everyone has been busy with their duties and hasn't set foot outside the mountain gates. However, a few days ago, Madame Liu from the Liu clan arrived with a message saying that clan leader Liu had requested you travel to Anyang County. Since it was Madame Liu who delivered the message, it was likely to discuss his marriage to Mei Zhen. This surprised him, as clan leader Liu had previously been obsessed with having Mei Zhen marry into the Shangguan clan. Besides that, Patriarch, I've noticed several unfamiliar cultivators appearing at our mountain gates several times. As he spoke, his eldest brother, Fu Changren, produced a series of scrolls. One depicted a middle-aged man, a burly figure, though not one of their own. Fu Changsheng pointed and said, "Brother, do you have any recollection of this middle-aged cultivator?" Fu Changren shook his head. Seeing Fu Changsheng pause in thought, he hesitated and said, "Patriarch, these cultivators likely heard about the Li family's defeat, leaving Niusho Mountain ownerless. They've likely left after hearing about the fall of the Li family. They'll likely leave once the clans sent by the Shangguan family move in. However, it's always best to be cautious when entering or leaving Luifang Mountain." This was Fu Changsheng's intention. After a moment's thought, he removed the portrait of the middle-aged man and placed it in his storage bag. After giving a few instructions and donning his invisibility cloak, he left the mountain gate. Wagayu Lake is west of the Yangang woods. He stopped by his 4th sister's place to take Zhaoqing away. The little green snake stayed with her for several months, becoming reluctant to leave when they parted. Remarkably, over the course of several months, his 4th sister, Fu Changli, had tamed nearly 100 silver-spotted venomous snakes. Normally, there were wood thieves in the Yangang woods. But since his 4th sister took over, several of those thieves have died from bites, and no one dared to venture into the woods again. Fu Changsheng was quite pleased. Meanwhile, Manager Fu, who was in charge of logging at the lumberyard, heard the master was coming. He hurried over, bowed, and then, as if to claim credit, said, "Master, this year, There are 700 yangang trees in the lumberyard that are 5 years old and ready for felling. I have specially arranged for people to work day and night to cut them all down and pile them in the southwest corner. Master, would you mind going and taking a look? The yangang wood is a first-level spiritual wood. Although the flame it calcined was not as strong as the earth fire or the true fire of a foundation-building cultivator, it was sufficient for low-level alchemists and weapon refiners. After all, not just any family could open up a house of earth fire. Yangang wood was quite popular in the market. Fu Changsheng nodded. Okay, you lead the way. He planned to take a batch of Wei tribe land for Liurunzi to use for refining weapons. When he reached the southwest corner, he saw piles of timber neatly stacked. On the other side, many workers were digging holes to plant new saplings. Fu Changsheng glanced around and saw that a small number of workers were not wearing Fu family uniforms. He frowned. Manager Fu, I remember I clearly instructed that only those working in the yangang wood forest must be members of our Fu family. What happened to those dozens of people? Manager Fu was stunned. The clan members had to pay double the wages, and he was also trying to save costs, naturally hoping to take a cut of the fees. He hadn't expected the clan had to take even such a small matter to heart, and with a forced smile, he was about to explain. Fu Changsheng's face hardened. Go to the clan's punishment hall to receive your punishment. Furthermore, from today on, you are not allowed to set foot in the yangang wood forest again. The yangang wood forest was particularly sensitive to fires. Even when clan members came in to do business, they had to be extremely cautious. Who knew if outsiders might sneak in and cause trouble? He turned to Fu Changli and gave her some advice. Fourth sister, this yangang wood forest produces 1,000 spirit stones annually. It's a very profitable business. You must be vigilant on a daily basis. Do you understand? Yes, clan head. Fourth sister Fu Changli felt a little guilty. She had been so obsessed with taming silver-spotted venomous snakes that she hadn't even noticed the outsiders sneaking in. The workers busy replanting were quickly cleared out of the mountain gate. The dozens of outsiders lamented, the Fu family is so kind and even gave us 2 days' wages. It's a shame we can't log in again. That's right, the Fu family usually pays double what the Li family paid us. Everyone chatted along the way. One of them dodged and disappeared into the grass on the side path, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Fu Changsheng, we finally got you out of seclusion. On the mountain, Fu Changsheng watched the retreating lumberjacks. A figure struck him as familiar, but he couldn't place it. Suddenly, he remembered something. He slapped his storage bag, and a scroll unfolded, revealing a middle-aged man. But he wasn't among the group that had just passed by, and the lumberjacks were all mortals, so Fu Changsheng didn't sense any magical fluctuations from them. Am I overthinking it? The Li family was supposedly exterminated. The Fu family shouldn't have any enemies. Could it be? Fu Changsheng's pupils shrank, and he turned to look towards the eastern wasteland. The Xianlong tribe had taken action. Fu Changsheng's mind raced. The Xianlong tribe had 2 reasons for attacking. One was revenge for the death of the third elder. They didn't have the ability to deal with Shangguan Feng, so they naturally had no choice but to target him. Furthermore, 2.5 years ago, the Xianlong tribe had nearly wiped out the Fu family. They were clearly worried that their growth would one day lead to the same fate as the Li family. Well timed, Fu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly. With the Fu family's current strength, defeating the Xianlong tribe was undoubtedly a pipe dream, but if the Xianlong tribe had dared to come to Nanyang County, there was no chance they would escape alive. Chapter 34 Zhao King shows off her power and kills another person. Fu Changsheng's mind raced, and he immediately devised a plan. If the lumberjack from earlier was someone sent by the Xianlong tribe, he'd surely be waiting for him at the foot of the mountain. He sneered and quickly wrote a few words in fourth sister's hand. Nervous and fearful, she obeyed and summoned the silver-spotted venomous snakes from the forest. Fu Changsheng placed them in his spirit beast bag. After donning his invisibility cloak, he left through a secret passage in the forest. On the way, he exchanged thoughts with a little green snake, learning that it had mastered awakened bloodline magic. His eyes lit up. This gave him another trump card. Moon-Watching Lake, only a few hundred feet from the yangang wood forest, was originally the Li family's secular land, devoid of spiritual energy. However, it did have a lotus pond, now in bloom. Fu Changsheng sensed it. A faint demonic aura emanated from the southwest corner of the lake. After advancing to the 5th level of key training, His five senses had also grown considerably stronger. But now was not the time to fish. Fu Changsheng opened the spirit beast bag and released all the silver-spotted venomous snakes into the water. He then returned to the yangang woods through the secret passage. He took a deep breath, unveiled his invisibility cloak, and, feigning indifference, waved goodbye to his fourth sister. After emerging from the forest, he headed for Moon-Watching Lake. Along the way, his five senses were fully activated. Yet, he detected no movement. Am I overthinking? Fu Changsheng wondered. But he didn't intend to disrupt his plan. Arriving at Moon-Watching Lake, he tapped the ground with his toes and landed lightly on a lotus leaf. He formed a seal with his right hand. The water in the southwest corner splashed, revealing two cypress bellfish, entwined head and tail. The cypress bellfish were the size of a palm, a foot long, their bodies adorned with the veins of cypress trees. First-grade, low-grade cypress bellfish were extremely nourishing for low-level key cultivators. Fu Changsheng flicked his sleeve, and the long-prepared water tank contained the cypress fish. Immediately after entering the water, the cypress fish nestled quietly in a corner, one of them showing a prominent belly bulge, clearly about to spawn. To outsiders, he appeared completely immersed in the joy of obtaining the cypress fish. In reality, from the moment he descended from the yangang woods, his spirits had never relaxed. Suddenly, a sense of mortal danger washed over him. Here they come. Fu Changsheng immediately tossed a black tortoise shield clasped in his left hand into the air. Ding, ding, ding. A barrage of poison-infused needles rained down upon the shield. Oh, quick reflexes. In the forest, the lumberjack figure, who had struck Fu Changsheng as familiar, emerged. With a flick of his sleeve, 10 flying needles were sent flying back. His body shook, his features transformed dramatically, and his physique became muscular. It was the middle-aged man in the portrait. It was none other than Yasin, the son of the third elder of the Xianlong tribe. Yasin's tiger eyes glared at Fu Changsheng with a deadly glare. The chief said you were only at the 4th level of key training, but I never imagined you'd break through to the 5th level in just a few months. Your talent is quite impressive, but it's a shame you won't see the sun tomorrow. Yasin was at the 7th level of key training. Though only 2 levels away, the gap between the middle and late stages of key training was unbridgeable. He was absolutely certain he could kill Fu Changsheng. Yasin took a few steps, about to leap into Moon-Watching Lake, but suddenly stopped and instinctively retreated. But it was too late. Suddenly, hundreds of silver-spotted venomous snakes swarmed the lake, their jaws opening in unison, unleashing a barrage of poisonous arrows. A dense swarm that left Yasin with no escape. And yet, he didn't dodge, but instead, it was a false alarm. He sneered, a mere first-level silver-spotted venomous snake thinks you can kill me? What a foolish dream. Raised in the eastern wilds, Yasin had tasted countless poisons since childhood, becoming immune to them. Yasin paused, letting the poison arrows rain down on him like a tickle. He quickly formed hand seals and pointed them towards Moon-Watching Lake below. With a splash, 4 jets of water surged upward, colliding in midair. With a roar and a dragon's roar, a water dragon condensed. The dragon swung its tail. The force that came crashing down was no less powerful than a key training cultivator's strongest attack. It was a first-level, top-grade spell. Fu Changsheng dared not withstand it. With a flick of his sleeve, his flying boat hovered in the air, maneuvering it narrowly to avoid the dragon's attack. Yasin, casting the spell, saw the flying boat, his eyes flashing with greed. He stared intently at Fu Changsheng, fearing he would flee with the boat, leaving him with nothing. As he composed his incantations, a column of water rose again, unexpectedly condensing into another water dragon. The 2 dragons intersected head to tail, and a dragon ball condensed. The dragon ball was slightly unstable, its power barely wielded by a key cultivator. Clearly, Yasin didn't want to waste time, seeking a quick victory to avoid attracting other cultivators. Fu Changsheng watched the water ball whizzing towards him, but he showed no sign of panic. He glanced at Yasin, who was now completely focused on him. A sneer crossed his lips. Quick, with a thought, Yasin suddenly felt the ground beneath his feet turn blood red. What the hell is this? He frowned, and was about to evade. He was shocked to find that his legs, stained by the red light, had instantly transformed into a pool of blood. At that moment, a female ghost dangled from the forest. As his mind broke, thousands of hairs whizzed through his chest like lightning. Bang! Yasin collapsed into a pool of blood, eyes wide open. From the appearance of the red light to his final breath, a fleeting moment elapsed, and that moment was exactly what Fu Changsheng needed. The two water dragons in the air, uncontrolled by his magic, exploded with a bang, disintegrating into countless water droplets. Seeing Yasin's body about to be dissolved by the red light, Fu Changsheng quickly called out, "Zhaoqing, it's done." Then, a flash of green light appeared from the ground. Zhaoqing opened her mouth, and the bloodlight on the ground suddenly rolled back and sank into her body. Blood fusion, this was Zhaoqing's awakened bloodline magic. Fu Changsheng landed beside Yasin and waved his sleeve. 10 flying needles and an ancient book from the opponent's body floated up. The flying needles were made from the teeth of a first-grade, top-grade heavenly wolf demon. Although they were only first-grade, when used together, they were no less than a first-grade, top-grade magical weapon. Fu Changsheng didn't have time to check the contents of the ancient book. He hurriedly threw it into his storage bag, letting the little green snake and autumn cicada devour Yasin's body and soul. He left Huangyu Lake without stopping, just in case the opponent had hidden helpers. He drove the flying boat all the way. After arriving at the clan's land, he suddenly heard a familiar voice in his mind. "Ling, you have eliminated a potential threat to the clan and earned 30 clan contribution points." If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35: A Spirit Stone Vein. The family contribution points on the dashboard returned from 0 to 30. Fu Changsheng's face showed no sign of joy. Fu Changren, noticing his preoccupied expression, approached him and questioned him. Fu Changsheng paused for a moment before recounting his assassination attempt. Fu Changren was horrified. "Master, do you know who assassinated you?" The assassin had the totem of the Xianlong tribe engraved on his back, so they must have been sent by them. Hearing it was the Xianlong tribe again, Fu Changren was furious. The Xianlong tribe are targeting us. If they weren't so weak, he would have been tempted to descend upon the eastern wasteland. Fu Changsheng, too, felt like an enemy constantly watching him, a thorn in his side. He had originally considered seeking revenge against the Xianlong tribe when he was stronger. But if they sent assassins repeatedly, he might have many means of self-defense, but his brother and his men didn't even possess a single magical weapon. Destroy the Xianlong tribe. We can't wait any longer. Fu Changsheng took a deep breath. Big brother, tell my third brother and the others to avoid going out for the time being. Patriarch, you two must be careful. Fu Changsheng brought out the cypress bellfish. His eldest brother, Fu Changren, was stunned for a moment, then the melancholy on his face faded. He said happily, "The Patriarch is truly blessed to have even managed to catch cypress bellfish. With these two fish, after a few years of breeding, the Fu family would have an endless supply of cypress bellfish to eat, a steady supply to the market. This would be a lucrative business." Fu Changsheng gave a few more instructions, rose, and returned to the secret room. He finally unearthed his trophy. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoed in his mind. "Ling, you've added a pair of cypress bellfish to the family, earning 20 family contribution points." On the control panel, his family contribution points were just enough to redeem one random prize. But this time, Fu Changsheng chose not to enter the prize, intending to use them for a one-time exchange of information. If he wanted to annihilate the Xianlong tribe, he could only rely on the intelligence system to provide him with useful information. Only then could he make his plans. He took a deep breath. He didn't even bother to check his spoils. Instead, he simply said, "Exchange the information, eh Buzz?" A flood of yellow light surged across the panel. Then, lines of text appeared. 1. Mr. Liu, owner of the Beibao Pavilion in Nanyang Market, is planning to sell his shop and move his family to Qingayan Market because his daughter has been chosen by the Qingayan sect. 2. In the Wonho Valley, at the border of the Xianlong and Nudang tribes, a low-grade spirit stone vein is found. Stop exchanging. Fu Changsheng, who had been planning to exchange all his contribution points at once, narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw the second piece of information. His mind raced, and a smile spread across his lips. If he used that spirit stone vein in the Wonho Valley well, it would be a death warrant for the Xianlong tribe. If he remembered correctly, Shangguan Hongyu had mentioned it to him last time. The neighboring Nudang and Xianlong tribes, like the Fu and Li families, had been enemies for years. If the spirit stone vein were ever revealed, the two families would surely fight tooth and nail. Once both were decimated, he would report it to the Shangguan clan. With such a vast spirit stone vein, the Shangguan clan would undoubtedly mobilize their entire clan to seize it, leaving the Xianlong tribe with absolutely no chance of survival. The heavy burden that had weighed heavily on his heart suddenly lifted. The next question was how to get the Xianlong tribe to discover the spirit stone vein first. Looks like we have to go to the eastern wilds. To eradicate this cancer of the Xianlong tribe, a trip to the eastern wilds would be worthwhile. In a cheerful mood, Fu Changsheng finally had the energy to examine the spoils he had obtained from Yasen. 10 flying needles, a set of first-grade, superior magical instruments, were perfect for sneak attacks. Satisfied, he then uncovered a yellowed ancient tome. The 3 words Dragon Transformation Secret were clearly inscribed on it. Upon seeing the name, Fu Changsheng immediately thought of the water dragon that Yasen had cast at the end. If he hadn't set an ambush, he would have been killed by that water dragon's attack. This is a top-tier offensive spell. He flipped open the book, but found that it only recorded the first level. Fu Changsheng was stunned. This dragon transformation art actually has a second level. If the first level was so powerful, the second level was unimaginable. Fu Changsheng was a little excited. He planned to learn the dragon transformation art before heading to the eastern wilderness, thus gaining an additional life-saving measure. But before that, he had to go to the market to find Boss Liu and buy his shop. The wine cellar already contained 100 barrels of the rejuvenating spirit wine, brewed by his third brother. In addition to the talismans that Molan had recently refined, any extra magical instruments that Runzi would refine in the future, and the bailing fish, all of these could be brought to the shop for sale. Therefore, owning a shop of their own was extremely important to the Fu family. Especially considering that his third brother would continue to develop spirit wines with different recipes, building the Fu family's spirit wine reputation and benefiting future generations. But where will the spirit stones for the shop come from? Fu Changsheng was puzzled. He pondered for a moment and said, Qingyuan market is much larger than our Nanyang market. Since Boss Liu is also continuing to open his shop, I can pawn him the yangang stone mine, the yangang wood, and the spirit wine. All in all, it should be enough to cover the cost of a shop. Fu Changsheng made up his mind and left the secret room. He also copied the dragon transformation art in his hand and put it in the clan storehouse. As he was about to leave for the market, a familiar voice came to his mind. Ling, you have added a spell to the family, gaining 20 family contribution points. The value on the panel suddenly increased from 46 to 66. Fu Changsheng's eyes lit up. This way, he could not only enter the lottery once, but also redeem 8 pieces of intelligence. Without hesitation, he said, exchange for the prize. Buzz! The panel vibrated, and a yellow light converged. As the family contribution points on the panel dropped to 16, a box suddenly appeared in his sleeve. Although this wasn't his first time in the lottery, every time he won a prize and opened the box, he couldn't help but feel anticipation. He took a deep breath, and when the box opened, he saw 20 neatly stacked spirit stones. This, Fu Changsheng was stunned. He had never expected it. This time, the prize was 20 spirit stones. Huh? Fu Changsheng was about to put the spirit stones into his storage bag when his eyes lit up. He quickly took a piece from the box. When he felt a vast spiritual energy contained within, his originally disappointed mood immediately reversed. Chapter 36, Unexpected Prize, Purchase Shop. The spirit stone in his hand was noticeably smaller than usual, and its luster was even brighter. The spiritual power it held was unmatched by that of lower-grade spirit stones. Fu Changsheng was both surprised and delighted. It's actually a mid-grade spirit stone. One mid-grade spirit stone could be exchanged for 100 lower-grade spirit stones at the market, but mid-grade spirit stones were so rare that they could often be exchanged for an additional 10 lower-grade spirit stones. In other words, he had won 2,200 lower-grade spirit stones in this single draw. This was undoubtedly a substantial sum for him. Fu Changsheng had initially worried that he might not have enough spirit stones to purchase the shop, but now it seemed likely he would have enough. I'm lucky today. How about exchanging for a few more pieces of information, he thought, and used all of his remaining family contribution points to exchange for information. However, the 8 pieces of information he received were all insignificant. He silently warned himself, guess I'll have to stop while I'm ahead. Don't be too greedy. He placed the spirit stones in his storage bag. Donning his invisibility cloak, He immediately left Luofang Mountain and headed for the Nanyang market. Inside the Xianlong tribe's tent, Chief Rong was discussing important matters with the elders. Chief, the Nodang tribe, relying on the fact that they have one more foundation establishment cultivator than us, are increasingly looking down on us. They've even fled from the myriad Flower Valley to hunt in our Kikon Mountain territory and killed Yake, our most gifted cultivator. This vengeance must be avenged, or else they'll come after us in a few years. As he spoke, hurried footsteps suddenly rang out outside. A figure dressed as a wizard stepped aside the curtain and entered. Chief, this is bad. Yasin's soul lamp is off. What? Chief Rong was stunned. The wizard in charge of the soul lamp repeated the words. Chief Rong was in disbelief. Yasin is clearly at the 7th level of key training, and Fu Changsheng is only at the 4th. A misstep would be fine, but how could that bastard Fu Changsheng actually kill him? How could this be? Chief Rong simply couldn't accept this fact. As the other elders realized what was happening, they slammed the table in indignation. Chief, this Fu Changsheng first killed the 3rd brother, and now he's killed his only heir. This little bastard must not be allowed to live. I'll personally go out and deal with him. I don't believe he can escape my grasp, even with my peak key training. Everyone seconded the sentiment. A 7th level key cultivator being killed by a 4th level key cultivator. Their Xianlong tribe had never suffered such humiliation before. After Chief Rong calmed down, he rapped on the table and said, "We must avenge the Fu family, but not now. Our most urgent task now is to seek justice for Yaka from the Nodang tribe." Fu Changsheng entered the Nanyang market and went directly to the treasure pavilion. Sure enough, he saw a sign on the shop, "Prosperous Shop Resale." The shelves were cleared of items. When Fu Changsheng entered, a single servant was manning the counter. Upon seeing Fu Changsheng, he waved, "Sir, we're sold out of the treasure pavilion." Sorry, because they were no longer in business. The servant's attitude was indifferent. Fu Changsheng said, "Call out your shopkeeper." "Why call the shopkeeper?" The servant was about to speak, as Fu Changsheng was younger than him, but after a moment's intuition, he discovered that Fu Changsheng's cultivation level was even higher, already in the middle stage of key training. Unwilling to be negligent, he quickly stepped back from the counter. "Excuse me, sir. Our owner said we're closed." Fu Changsheng pointed to the sign hanging by the door. The servant was stunned for a moment, then looked at Fu Changsheng in disbelief. Someone so young was actually trying to buy the shop. My goodness, what a different fate. The servant, feeling a pang of jealousy, remained even more humble. "Sir, please take a seat. I'll go in and invite the owner out." After a moment, the curtain swayed. A middle-aged man emerged. It was none other than Shopkeeper Liu. Shopkeeper Liu smiled and bowed to Fu Changsheng. "I heard from you that a young man wanted to see me. I was wondering who it was." "It's the Fu clan leader. Please, come, let's chat in the backyard." The backyard wasn't large. There were 2 main rooms, 3 wings on each side, and a side room for servants. A silver mulberry tree grew in the courtyard, gathering the scattered spiritual energy from the surrounding air. Sitting beneath it, one felt instantly refreshed. Shopkeeper Liu poured a cup of Wuling tea and handed it to Fu Changsheng. "This is new tea from southern Xinjiang. Clan leader Fu, please try it. I like it best. It's sweet and mellow, and the aftertaste lingers for a long time." Wuling tea is a first-grade, mid-grade spiritual tea. Fu Changsheng had never tasted it at home. It seemed that running a shop was truly profitable. He took a sip. A gentle spiritual energy immediately permeated his body, equivalent to days of cultivation in a spiritual spring well. It was indeed a first-grade, mid-grade spiritual tea. Fu Changsheng took another sip before speaking. "Shopkeeper Liu, how much do you plan to sell this shop for?" Shopkeeper Liu simply gestured to a number. Fu Changsheng was stunned for a moment. The other party had only compared 2 to him. 2,000 spirit stones was definitely out of the question. After a pause, he realized it was 20,000 spirit stones. "Shopkeeper Liu, are you kidding me?" 20,000 spirit stones was an astronomical sum. Shopkeeper Liu knew the Fu family had been robbed and likely couldn't afford such a sum, so he didn't hide it. "Patriarch Fu, do you know how many spirit stones my shop would cost per year if I rented it?" Fu Changsheng had no idea. The Fu family had previously lived on their dozens of acres of spiritual fields and had never considered starting a business. Besides, they didn't have the capital. Shopkeeper Liu smiled and said, 3,600 spirit stones a year. That means if I rent this shop out for a few years, I won't have to do anything and I'll get my investment back. From now on, I'll be able to earn in nearly 4,000 spirit stones a year from rent. Honestly, if I weren't in urgent need of capital to buy a shop in Qinghai Market, I wouldn't be willing to sell it. I'm being frank with you about these 20,000 spirit stones. The price is clearly marked. Be quick and you'll get it, 20,000 spirit stones. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't come up with enough. For the other three great families, even his own family, it would be incredibly difficult to come up with such a large sum of spirit stones. Shopkeeper Liu held on to a glimmer of hope and said, Chief Fu, this Nanyang market was founded by our Shangguan ancestors, and almost all the shops here belong to them. To do business here, you have to pay exorbitant rents. My shop was granted to me as a reward after our ancestors saved our Shangguan ancestors once. It's the only one in the entire market. If you miss this opportunity, you'll never have another. Fu Changsheng was young, after all. Before the tragedies in his clan, he had no time to care about such trivial matters. He was completely focused on cultivation. If the price of this shop was as shopkeeper Liu said, it would pay off in a few years, making it a good deal. Chapter 37 The Second Pot of Gold. Seeing Fu Changsheng's interest, shopkeeper Liu immediately said, Patriarch Fu, if what I said is true, you can find out for yourself by simply asking around. I guarantee that everything I say is true. 20,000 spirit stones is the best price. Fu Changsheng wanted to buy. His mind raced. If he wanted to raise such a large sum of spirit stones in such a short time, there was only one way. He stood up and said, Shopkeeper, let me think about it. He immediately left the treasure pavilion. Instead of leaving the market, he entered a private room in the tea house. After activating a shielding magic circle, he took out the communication jade talisman and cast a spell into it. A white light illuminated, Miss Hongyu, I have an important matter to discuss with you in person. I'm in Nanyang Market. Do you have time to come over? His fastest way to earn 20,000 spirit stones was through the spirit stone vein in Wonho Valley. With his Fu family's current strength, he certainly couldn't secure it. It would be better to sell this information to the Shangguan family as planned, and let them handle the matter. If the Shangguan family wanted to monopolize the spiritual stone vein, they would have to eliminate the Xianlong tribe. This way, he could not only use the Shangguan family's help to eliminate the Xianlong tribe, but also receive a huge reward, killing two birds with one stone. The wait was agonizing. After about half an hour, the communication jade talisman on the table finally emitted a rapid beeping sound, and Shangguan Hongyu's voice rang out, I will be in Nanyang County in 2 days. You can wait for me at Luofang Mountain, okay? Fu Changsheng was delighted, but then he realized why Shangguan Hongyu was coming to Luofang Mountain. 2 days later was the day when the neighboring Zhang family would move into Niushou Mountain. The deal was done. Fu Changsheng left the tea house and went to the treasure pavilion again. Seeing Fu Changsheng return, shopkeeper Liu's eyes lit up. Clan leader Fu, you've finally figured it out. Well, shopkeeper Liu, I'll take your shop. This is the deposit. I'll collect the remaining balance for you within a month. How is that? Fu Changsheng handed shopkeeper Liu the 20 mid-grade spirit stones he'd won in the lottery. Shopkeeper Liu glanced at them and, satisfied to see they were mid-grade spirit stones, thought a month wasn't a long time, and he could certainly wait. He immediately wrote a receipt and signed the contract at the brokerage. Clan leader Fu, I'll be waiting for your good news in the market, okay? Fu Changsheng left the market and returned to his clan. A few days later, early in the morning, he saw a beam of precious light approaching from the horizon. As it got closer, it turned out to be a warship, 2 buildings over a dozen stories tall, seemingly capable of accommodating tens of thousands of people. On the deck of the treasure ship, Shangguan Hongyu, dressed in red palace attire, stood shoulder to shoulder with Shangguan Chen. Upon seeing Fu Changsheng emerge from Luofang Mountain, Shangguan Hongyu bowed her head and exchanged a few words with Shangguan Chen before disembarking from the warship. Fu Changsheng hurriedly greeted her, saying, Miss Hongyu, you've had a long journey. Let's go inside and talk. The two entered the magic circle, and Fu Changsheng led them directly to the secret chamber. Seeing his cautious demeanor, Shangguan Hongyu couldn't help but ask curiously, Patriarch Fu, what is this important matter you're talking about? The information Fu Changsheng provided had helped them successfully eliminate the traitorous Li family, a move that had earned the Shangguan family considerable merit. Therefore, anticipation for Fu Changsheng's revelations grew stronger. Fu Changsheng took a deep breath and unpacked his thoughts. Miss Hongyu, to be honest, just a few days ago, I was ambushed by assassins from the Xianlong tribe at Wangyu Lake. I narrowly escaped death, and thanks to that, I also obtained some shocking information from that assassin. He paused. Fu Changsheng slowed his speech. I found a topographic map on that person. It clearly showed the eastern wasteland. I used some trickery to get the half-dead Xianlong tribe member to tell me that he had stumbled upon the map. The location marked on the map is a spirit stone vein. A spirit stone vein. Shangguan Hongyu shuddered. She stared at Fu Changsheng intensely. Chief Fu, where are the map and the Xianlong tribe member? That person was already half dead. I burned the map out of fear it would bring trouble. However, the location marked on the map is undeniable. I'm not lying. Shangguan Hongyu glanced at Fu Changsheng again. Fu Changsheng was her savior, and he wouldn't joke about such a thing. Chief Fu, do you still remember that map? Fu Changsheng nodded. This was his bargaining chip in his negotiations with the Shangguan family. Shangguan Hongyu paused for a moment, then spoke. Even a small vein of spirit stone can yield hundreds of thousands of spirit stones. Furthermore, it's located in the eastern wilderness. This is a matter of grave importance, and I can't promise you anything in my capacity. So, I'll ask my father to come over and have him discuss this with you in person. What do you think? Then I'll trouble you, Miss Hongyu. The Shangguan father and daughter were the only ones he could trust. After quickly sending a message to Shangguan Feng, Shangguan Hongyu left Luofang Mountain to avoid attracting attention, heading to nearby Niasho Mountain to help Shangguan Chen set up the Zhang family's protective formation. It was late afternoon. Shangguan Feng rushed to Luofang Mountain. Upon hearing about the spirit stone veins, even a cultivator in the late foundation establishment stage was astonished. He fixed Fu Changsheng with a fixed gaze and said, Patriarch Fu, name your price. What conditions will it take for you to map the topography of the spirit stone veins? Those unscrupulous cultivators wouldn't have bothered to negotiate so politely with Fu Changsheng. They would have directly used soul-searching techniques to read his memories, and even murdered him to prevent leaks. Fu Changsheng was simply relying on the good character of Shangguan Hongyu and her daughter. Previous intelligence revealed that Li Changte, a former member of the Li family, had saved Shangguan Hongyu, but thanks to this, the Shangguan family rose to prominence, earning them the title of ninth-rank aristocratic family within 10 years. Fu Changsheng knew his limitations and wasn't greedy. He said truthfully, Senior Feng, Manager Liu of the Beibao Pavilion in Nanyang Market wants to resell the shop. My Fu family usually just guards a few dozen acres of spiritual fields to make a living. Life is difficult. For the sake of future generations, Changsheng wants to buy that shop. Manager Liu insists on 20,000 spiritual stones, not a less. But as you know the situation of my Fu family, we can't afford such a large amount of spiritual stones at all. Okay, I understand what you mean. Please wait a moment, I'll be back soon, Shangguan Feng said, and after a flash of his body, he came out of Luofang Mountain and went to the neighboring Niasho Mountain. Then he put 2 boxes in front of Fu Changsheng. This is 18,800 spiritual stones. This is all the spiritual stones I can get now. You take it first. As for the subsequent spiritual stone veins, if they are true, depending on the mining situation, deduct the labor and other costs, and I will strive for another 20% dividend for you from the clan. Chapter 38, A Side Effect. A 20% dividend. Fu Changsheng even suspected he was hallucinating. Shangguan Feng had given him too much? He hadn't even considered taking a dividend, he only wanted 20,000 spirit stones to cover the cost of selling them to the treasure pavilion. He was stunned for a moment. Then, upon realizing what he had done, he bowed deeply to Shangguan Feng. Changsheng, I thank you, Senior Feng, for your support. Clearly, Shangguan Feng was repaying his debt of gratitude for saving his daughter. He immediately took up his pen and drew a picture of the 10,000 Flowers Valley. Shangguan Feng glanced at it, his brow furrowed slightly. This is the border between the Xianlong and Nudang tribes? In other words, if the Shangguan family wanted to exploit this spirit stone vein, these 2 tribes would have to be eradicated. A sudden thought struck Shangguan Feng, and he fixed his gaze on Fu Changsheng. They were all intelligent people. Fu Changsheng was quite forthright. He took a deep breath and said, Senior Feng, the Xianlong tribe still harbors evil intentions against our Fu family. As long as they are not eliminated, our Fu family will not be able to sleep or eat in peace. Just as you thought, Changsheng so readily handed over this treasure map because he wanted to leverage the power of your Shangguan family to eliminate the Xianlong tribe. Shangguan Feng rarely smiled. You know how to assess the situation and kill with a boro knife? With you at the helm of the Fu family, we will surely rise. I am optimistic about you. Regarding how to mine the spirit stone veins in Wonho Valley, this involves the Xianlong tribe and the Nideng tribe. I still need to return to the clan and report to the clan leader. For the time being, you should stay in Luifang Mountain and don't go out. Wait for my good news. After several exchanges, Shangguan Feng's appreciation for Fu Changsheng grew. Fu Changsheng personally escorted Shangguan Feng out of Luifang Mountain. Only then did his eldest brother, Fu Changren, step forward. With the Shangguan family members constantly coming and going these past few days, he was genuinely worried. Master, is there anything I can do for you? Fu Changshen, understanding his concerns, smiled and showed him the 20,000 spirit stones Shangguan Feng had given him, plus his own savings. Fu Changren, stunned for a moment by how many spirit stones he had never seen before, blinked and said, Master, I borrowed these spirit stones from the Shangguan family. The treasure pavilion in Nanyang market is selling them, and I plan to buy them. From now on, our Fu family's spirit wine, talismans, spirit fish, and so on won't have to be sold at low prices to those shops. No one can take advantage of us, and we can be our own bosses. Master, am I dreaming? Fu Changren slapped himself. Owning a shop in Nanyang market was something they had never dreamed of, and yet it had become a reality. Fu Changren, realizing what was happening, was filled with tears of joy. After the excitement wore off, Fu Changren suddenly felt overwhelmed. After all, he would be burdened with a loan of 20,000 spirit stones. He frowned and said, Master, shops in Nanyang market are hard to come by. If we only sell our clan's products, it will take us 10 years to fill the 20,000 spirit stone hole. I know nothing about business. Master, who do you think should properly run this shop? Fu Changren was already overwhelmed with the care of his 50 mu of spirit farmland. His third brother was obsessed with brewing, and his fourth sister was too young and playful to be interested in taming beasts. The remaining ones were Runzi and Molan. Fu Changsheng couldn't possibly stay at the treasure pavilion all day. After some thought, he said, I've thought about it. Our mountain range only has one spiritual spring, which isn't enough for us to cultivate on a regular basis. The spiritual energy in the market town is inherently richer than in our mountains. Besides, there's a first-grade, mid-grade silver mulberry tree in the treasure pavilion. So, I'm thinking of having Runzi and Molan look after the shop together, and hiring 2 waiters. They can practice refining and making talismans in the backyard when they have nothing to do. Fu Changren nodded and said, Molan grew up in that low-class place, so she's seen everyone and isn't afraid of anything. And Runzi, having worked with her grandfather in the market since she was little, has some experience. Together, the 2 of them shouldn't have any trouble managing a shop. That was Fu Changshen's thinking. When Molan and Runzi were called in and learned they would soon be the owners of the Fu's treasure pavilion, they were stunned. They were overjoyed to be entrusted with such a significant responsibility, especially Liu Runzi. Her weapon refining skills were still at the lower level of the first rank, and she had failed several times. Since joining the Fu family, she hadn't made any significant progress, and she felt guilty. The Fu family had not only saved her but also avenged her clan's genocide. She had already decided to stay with Fu Changsheng for the rest of her life, and knowing she could be of use was naturally joyful. That night, the 2 of them met and spent the evening discussing how to run the shop. Fu Changsheng, taking the spirit stones, left Luifang Mountain. Arriving at the treasure pavilion, the waiter, upon seeing Fu Changsheng, immediately approached nervously, a look of embarrassment on his face. Patriarch Fu, I'm truly sorry, but our shopkeeper is meeting a distinguished guest inside. Please wait outside. Instinctively, Fu Changsheng sensed something was amiss. Frowning, he asked, Who is the distinguished guest your shopkeeper is meeting? The waiter hadn't wanted to say it, but seeing Fu Changsheng's frown, he thought for a moment, realizing he'd finished his job for the day anyway. He whispered, Didn't a new key cultivating family settle in Nisho Mountain, formerly the Li family's territory? The person in charge is none other than the Zhang family leader. Clan leader Zhang came to the market today and saw the for sale sign posted in our shop. He immediately came in to meet with our shopkeeper. They've been talking for almost an hour. I went in to refill my tea and saw they were chatting happily. I vaguely heard that the shop was going to be sold to clan leader Zhang Huanzi. Fu Changsheng frowned. When the Zhang family moved in yesterday, he'd been busy negotiating the myriad Flower Valley matter with Shangguan Feng and hadn't been there. One reason was that they hadn't even sent an invitation to the Fu family. Naturally, he wouldn't rush into someone else's cold reception. In a flash, intelligence about the Zhang family flashed through his mind. Zhang Huanzi's daughter was Shangguan Wei's Taoist partner. And Shangguan Wei and Shangguan Feng had long been sworn enemies for the position of Grand Elder. This naturally put the Zhang family and their Fu family on opposing sides. Could Zhang Huanzi really be trying to interfere? Fu Changsheng pinched the contract in his sleeve. After waiting in the hall for about half an hour, shopkeeper Liu, beaming with joy, escorted out a middle-aged man with a potbelly. This man was none other than Zhang Huanzi, the patriarch of the Zhang family. The waiter had already gone in to inform them, so shopkeeper Liu and Zhang Huanzi weren't surprised to see Fu Changsheng. Zhang Huanzi sized Fu Changsheng up and down, his eyes unconcealed with disdain. He simply bowed to shopkeeper Liu and said, "Brother Liu, then it's a deal. Tomorrow at noon, we'll go to the pawn shop to complete the transfer procedures directly." "Of course, no problem." Shopkeeper Liu glanced at Fu Changsheng with a hint of guilt. Chapter 39, Fu's Treasure Pavilion, Another Lottery. Fu Changsheng's face turned cold. "Shopkeeper Liu, what do you mean by selling the same shop to two different owners?" Shopkeeper Liu was about to explain when Zhang Huanzi, who had just left, turned around and said sarcastically, "Patriarch Fu, that's not pleasant to hear. Shopkeeper Liu clearly stated the price, and your Fu family can't come up with 20,000 spirit stones, yet you're forbidding shopkeeper Liu from finding another buyer? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at if you tell others about it?" Clearly, in Patriarch Zhang's eyes, the Fu family, plundered by the southern barbarians, was a pauper. They'd struggle to come up with even 3,000 spirit stones, let alone 20,000. Fu Changsheng, however, didn't even look at clan leader Zhang. He took out a contract from his sleeve, pointed to the amount of liquidated damages written on it, and said calmly, "Shopkeeper Liu, if you don't want to sell the shop to me, Fu won't force you. You just need to pay me a liquidated damages of 20,000 spirit stones as written in the contract." "Oh, Fu Changsheng, it turns out that you have been digging a hole for shopkeeper Liu to jump into. You get something for nothing and still want 20,000 spirit stones. Why don't you just rob him?" Zhang Huanzi, who was standing aside, saw that Fu Changsheng didn't even take him seriously. A surge of anger surged in his heart. He stepped forward and glanced at the contract, then turned his anger into a smile. "It is clearly written in the contract that if your Fu family can't gather 20,000 spirit stones within a month, the contract will be invalid. Why, do you, Fu Changsheng, have 20,000 spirit stones in your hand right now? If so, then I, Zhang, am not the kind of person who would steal someone else's love. I would hand over the shop to someone else immediately without saying a word." "Shut up," Fu Changsheng frowned. He said calmly, "This deal between manager Liu and I is not for you, an outsider, to interfere. You." Zhang Huanzi was furious at Fu Changsheng's disparaging attitude. He gritted his teeth and said, "Manager Liu, our Zhang family is not in a hurry to open for business tomorrow. Since you have a contract with someone, we can wait another 10 days or half a month. Once your contract expires, it won't be too late to complete the transfer procedures." In Zhang Huanzi's opinion, Fu Changsheng was just being quick-witted. Not wanting to waste time, Fu Changsheng slapped his storage bag. In a flash of light, more than a dozen boxes flashed out. Fu Changsheng flicked his sleeve, and the boxes opened, illuminating with a white light. Then, a pile of spirit stones came into view. A rough calculation showed that, plus the deposit Fu Changsheng had paid earlier, it was exactly 20,000 spirit stones. Fu Changsheng said calmly, "Shopkeeper Liu, I've brought the spirit stones. Are you planning to sell the shop, or pay the 20,000 spirit stones penalty?" This, shopkeeper Liu was stunned. He had only harbored a fleeting fantasy when signing the contract with Fu Changsheng, as few people genuinely wanted to purchase his shop, and 20,000 spirit stones wasn't something everyone could afford. So, when Zhang Huanzi arrived and promised to pay the full amount the next day, he changed his mind and agreed. He felt that Fu Changsheng wouldn't be able to come up with 20,000 spirit stones in a month, let alone several months. He subconsciously took a spirit stone and sensed it, confirming it was real. Awkwardly, He turned to Zhang Huanzi and said, "Patriarch Zhang, I'm so sorry. Patriarch Fu and I already had a contract. It seems this shop is off yours." Sorry. He then turned and invited Fu Changsheng into the backyard for tea. Zhang Huanzi, who remained where he was, his face flickered between pale and blue. He hadn't expected Fu Changsheng to actually offer 20,000 spirit stones. Even so, he wasn't about to give up the shop. He dodged and blocked Fu Changsheng and his companion's path. Looking down at Fu Changsheng with a superior air, he said, "Patriarch Fu, my daughter is the Taoist companion of Shangguan Wei, the foundation establishment elder of the Shangguan clan. This shop is my property for her. What does it have to do with me?" Fu Changsheng didn't even frown. Shangguan Wei and Shangguan Feng were sworn enemies, and he was already on the same side as Shangguan Feng. Given that, there was no need to worry about offending Shangguan Wei. Furthermore, his business was legitimate. Zhang Huanzi had intervened. He continued into the backyard. Shopkeeper Liu was leaving Anyang County, and since he could sell the shop, he naturally wouldn't care about the disputes between the Zhang and Fu families. He simply bowed politely to Zhang Huanzi and followed Fu Changsheng into the backyard. Left standing, Zhang Huanzi's face turned pale with anger. It had only been the days since he moved in, and the Fu family had already given him a blatant show of force. He sneered inwardly, thinking the Fu family only had a few immature young men. He wanted to see what they could do, and immediately left. In the backyard, shopkeeper Liu apologized, "Patriarch Fu, I'm truly sorry. I thought you couldn't gather enough spirit stones, so I agreed to Zhang Huanzi's request. I was misjudged, and the inconvenience caused to you is my fault. So, when the property is transferred, the deed tax will be solely paid by me. Patriarch Fu, please forgive me. According to the deed tax, if they each paid half, Fu Changsheng would have to pay 500 spirit stones." Saving where possible, Fu Changsheng didn't refuse and nodded slightly. They went to the land brokerage together. After the transfer, Fu Changsheng held the deed in his hand, his eyes full of smiles. This was a major addition to their Fu family's fortune. Meanwhile, a familiar voice echoed in his mind, "Ling, you've added a shop to your family, earning 62 family contribution points." Fu Changsheng's heart skipped a beat. This meant that, in addition to winning once in the lottery, he could also redeem 6 pieces of intelligence. He resisted the urge to redeem them immediately, donning his invisibility cloak and leaving Nanyang Market. Upon returning to Luifang Mountain, his eldest brother, Molan, and Runzi, who had been waiting for him for a long time, immediately rushed over. Upon seeing the deed to the treasure pavilion, their faces lit up with smiles. Fu Changren said excitedly, "Master, our Fu family now not only owns the Yangang Wood Forest, but also a shop in the Nanyang Market. Plus, with our production of spirit wine and talismans, if we tighten our belts and live frugally, we'll definitely be able to train a foundation establishment cultivator within 20 years. Then, if we work together to increase our merit points, our Fu family will be able to leap from a low-ranking key training family to a 9th-rank family. We'll also be like the Shangguan family, where even if we do nothing, different key training families pay tribute every year. The future of the Fu family is bright." Fu Changsheng smiled and said, "Today is a great day. Runzi, fry one of the fire cloud eggs you've saved at home for each of us. Pair it with the spirit wine brewed by my third brother and red marrow rice, and we'll have a feast to celebrate." "Yes, master," everyone in the Fu family beamed. After a sumptuous dinner, Fu Changsheng returned to the secret room. He took a deep breath and said, "Redeem the prizes for the raffle." Chapter 40, Small Success of the Dragon Transformation Technique, Attacking the Xianlong Tribe. Buzz! A yellow light surged across the panel. As his family contribution value dropped from 62 to 12, a box suddenly appeared from his sleeve. "I wonder what the prize is this time." Even after multiple draws, Fu Changsheng remained filled with anticipation. He opened the box, only to see a shimmer of green light. Inside was a palm-sized inner armor. Huh? It's actually a protective magical weapon. As Fu Changsheng reached out to touch it, a message streamed into his consciousness. Green Vine Inner Armor, a first-grade, top-grade protective magical weapon. When worn, it has a refreshing effect. When attacked, it automatically transforms into a green vine cocoon to protect the owner. It's actually a first-grade, top-grade magical weapon. Fu Changsheng was delighted. He took it in his hands, and his excitement instantly calmed. He joyfully began to practice. If he was right, the Shangguan family would likely make a move soon. As the person providing the information, no matter how much Shangguan Fen trusted him, the Shangguan family would undoubtedly ask him to accompany them to the Myriad Flower Valley. When the battle begins, the extra inner armor will naturally provide him with an extra layer of security. After refining the green vine inner armor, Fu Changsheng remained in seclusion, continuing his practice of the dragon transformation art. Unlike the low-level spells he had previously cultivated, this one proved much more challenging. 3 months later, in the secret room, Fu Changsheng formed a hand seal and muttered something. Boom! A ball of fire suddenly condensed from in front of him. As the spell changed, the flame stretched and transformed, accompanied by a dragon's roar. In the next instant, the flames transformed into a several-meter-long flaming dragon. The dragon's tail lashed out, lashing against the wall of the secret room. Boom! The earth shook, rocks tumbled, and the secret room was instantly filled with smoke and dust. If it weren't for the protective magic circle, the entire room would have collapsed. Nice power. Fu Changsheng put away the magic spell with satisfaction. His 3 months of training had paid off. The dragon transformation art he was currently performing was a small success. When he could one day unleash it with his heart, he would unleash its full power. Over 3 months, it's time to come out of seclusion, Fu Changsheng stretched lazily. When he emerged from the secret room, he was greeted by a lush field of 7-star grass. The red marrow rice had been harvested and brought to the backyard to be brewed into spirit wine for his third brother. Fu Changren, who was busy in the spirit field, saw Fu Changsheng emerge and immediately came to greet him. Master, you're finally out of seclusion. Miss Hongyu came to see you 10 days ago. After learning of your seclusion, she asked you to contact her immediately upon your release. It seemed the Shangguan family was planning to take action. Fu Changsheng, filled with excitement and anticipation, immediately returned to his secret room, produced a jade communication talisman, and contacted Shangguan Hongyu. Shangguan Hongyu responded immediately, "Fellow Taoist Fu, take care of the clan affairs and meet us at Limeng Mountain in 3 days." They were indeed heading to the Myriad Flower Valley. The Myriad Flower Valley was located in the eastern wilderness, and this was his first time there. To say he wasn't excited would be a lie. He immediately pushed the door open and instructed his eldest brother, Fu Changren, to keep the doors and windows closed while he was away. No matter who came, they were not to activate the magic circle. After descending from Lufang Mountain, he headed directly for the Nanyang market. This trip to the Myriad Flower Valley was bound to be a tough battle. He had no healing elixirs or quick recovery elixirs, so a trip to the market was a natural opportunity. It was a good opportunity to see how the treasure pavilion in the market was functioning. He entered the market. The plaque in the middle of the street, labeled Fu's Treasure Pavilion, stood out. Customers streamed in constantly, almost awe-seeking their rejuvenating spirit wine and yangang wood. Fu Changsheng appeared in the shop. The sharp-eyed waiter immediately recognized him. Fu Changsheng waved him off, telling him to continue serving the customers, and headed straight to the backyard. A gust of heat emanated from the weapon refinery on the left side of the backyard. In the courtyard, Molan sat cross-legged under a silver mulberry tree, cultivating. Fu Changsheng sensed her and discovered that she had unexpectedly broken through to the 4th level of key training. She had only been practicing for less than 4 years, yet she had already broken through 4 levels in a row. During this process, Molan had not consumed a single pill or spiritual fruit. Fu Changsheng couldn't help but sigh, truly a favored daughter destined to become a nascent soul cultivator 100 years from now. Patriarch, Molan sensed someone entering and opened her eyes to see Fu Changsheng. Her eyes lit up with joy, and she immediately pulled out her account book to report the Beibeo Pavilion's revenue for the past 3 months. Because their spirit wine, spirit wood, yangang stone, and the raw materials for their talismans all came from the family, there were no procurement costs. Runzi and I discussed it, and since our shop is called Beibeo Pavilion, we'll use the past 3 months' revenue to purchase a batch of elixirs. Even if we can't sell them, our clan members can use them themselves. It'll diversify our product range and attract more customers. Well, that's a good idea. Now that the shop is under your control, go for it. By the way, what elixirs did you buy? Before the elixirs could even be put on the shelves, Molan led Fu Changsheng into the warehouse, pointing to the elixirs and explaining them one by one. Fu Changsheng took a bottle for healing, a bottle for detoxification, and a bottle for restoring mana. He then took out the clan leader token and deducted the corresponding contribution points. Seeing that Fu Changsheng was clearly planning a long journey, Molin couldn't help but say, "Master, I've already cultivated the dragon transformation art to minor success, and my cultivation has reached the middle stage of key training. Please take me with you. Having more people around will provide more support." Fu Changsheng shook his head. This trip to the eastern wilds was fraught with danger. He had both offensive and defensive magical weapons on him, and with the help of his spirit pet Zhaoking and ghost servant Kitchen, he felt a sense of security. But Molin didn't even have a magical weapon yet, so it would be too dangerous for her to follow him. Moreover, Molin was the most likely to reach the foundation establishment stage first in the Fu family. Once a foundation establishment master emerged in the clan, the situation would be drastically different. Naturally, he couldn't let such a talented cultivator take such risks with him. "Molin, your mission is to cultivate diligently and strive to break through to the foundation establishment stage as soon as possible." After 2 days in the market, the next morning, he donned his invisibility cloak and left the market, arriving at the designated location on Limang Mountain. After waiting for less than a cup of tea, he felt the familiar scent of a young girl wafting up from behind him. Turning, he saw Shangguan Hongyu and Shangguan Feng, both dressed in red palace attire, appear behind him. Fu Changsheng hurriedly bowed. Shangguan Feng formed a seal with his right hand, and a curtain of light enveloped the three of them. After activating the soundproofing technique, he spoke, "Chief Fu, since we already know the location of the Spirit Stone mines, I originally intended to spare you the risk of entering the eastern wasteland. However, once the Xianlong and Niudang tribes are wiped out, it would be a great opportunity for your Fu family to gain merit and honor if we could participate. Of course, the decision is yours. Are you willing to come along?" Chapter 41, Offer Suggestions, Xianlan's Secret Realm. To ascend to 9th rank aristocratic family status, the Fu clan needed to accumulate 100 merit points. Naturally, Fu Changsheng was unwilling to miss this golden opportunity. Most importantly, the Xianlong tribe had nearly annihilated his entire Fu clan, a feud they held irreconcilable. He immediately bowed and said, "Senior Feng, I'm willing to accompany you to the eastern wasteland." "Okay." Shangguan Feng was clearly pleased with Fu Changsheng's courage and determination, and immediately flew away from Limang Mountain, carrying him on his sword. Beyond Limang Mountain lay the eastern wasteland. His flying sword hovered in midair. Shangguan Feng formed a hand seal with his right hand, and suddenly, ripples rose before him, revealing a warship. After ascending the deck, Shangguan Feng led Fu Changsheng directly to the second-floor meeting room. Inside, Fu Changsheng took a quick glance and saw, including Shangguan Feng, a remarkable 12 foundation establishment cultivators, 8 of whom were dressed in the attire of Shangguan clan elders. Shangguan Feng took the first seat at the lower left. Fu Changsheng stood behind him. The Shangguan clan leader, standing at the head of the group, frowned slightly at Shangguan Feng bringing Fu Changsheng into the meeting room, but said nothing more. Instead, he waved his sleeve, and a scroll suddenly appeared in the air. On it, a massive city was clearly inscribed, Xianlong Tribe. Fu Changsheng frowned as he studied it closely. He saw that the city was divided into an inner city and an outer city, the outer city even having a moat. Clan leader Shangguan said, "According to the intelligence I've gathered, both the inner and outer cities of the Xianlong tribe are protected by protective formations, but the outer city is a first-tier formation. We have 2 formation masters here, so entering the outer city shouldn't be a problem. The difficulty lies in taking the inner city." Shangguan Wei, seated in the first seat at the lower right, glanced at Fu Changsheng and said calmly, "Clan leader, how to attack the Xianlong and Niudang tribes is a matter for the future. Before that, we must first confirm whether there is a spiritual stone vein in the Myriad Flowers Valley. If the intelligence is wrong, then mobilizing our forces to fight against the 2 tribes would be a waste of effort." Shangguan Wei's Taoist companion was from the Zhang family. Clan leader Zhang Huanzi, having failed to purchase the Beibao pavilion as he wished, had apparently complained to his daughter. Upon these words, everyone's eyes immediately turned to Fu Changsheng. Although Fu Changsheng was only at the mid-stage of key training, he remained neither humble nor overbearing. He bowed and said loudly, "Please rest assured, seniors. I can vouch for the existence of a spirit stone mine in Wonho Valley." Seeing him maintain his composure in front of 12 foundation establishment cultivators, Shangguan Wei swallowed his mockery. The other party was the Patriarch of the Fu clan. If he dared to use the Fu clan as a guarantee, it was likely true. Moreover, this was a boon for the Shangguan family. Naturally, he wouldn't be so ignorant of the overall situation as to suppress Fu Changsheng at this moment. With Fu Changsheng's promise, the worry on the Shangguan clan leader's brows faded, and a smile spread across his face. Since that's the case, let's continue. The Xianlong tribe was located on the edge of the eastern wilderness. From Limang Mountain, a foundation establishment cultivator could reach it by flying sword in just 2 days. The warship didn't advance at full speed, but by the third day, it had reached the Xianlong tribe's territory. Meanwhile, a plan for attacking the Xianlong and Niudang tribes had been finalized. A towering city could be seen from afar. The Xianlong tribe was bustling with activity as they entered and exited the city gates. However, each entry and exit was subject to a demon-repelling mirror. The 4 guards guarding the gates were surprisingly mid-stage key training cultivators. After a day of observation, they discovered that the city gates closed at sunset each day, merging the protective arrays of the inner and outer cities. A silent attack without alerting the inner city was clearly impossible. The Xianlong tribe's core strength lay in the inner city. Their initial plan was to enter through the outer city, use the forbidden breaking pearl to dismantle the inner city's protective array, and then crush the Xianlong tribe before they could send for Niudang's help. Otherwise, should the 2 tribes unite, they would likely face defeat, not victory. During the day, the outer city was guarded by numerous patrols and demon-repelling mirrors capable of detecting the presence of aliens, issuing a warning should they pass through. The Shangguan clan frowned and said, "Everyone, think about other ways to quietly enter the inner city." After a pause, the Shangguan clan leader continued, "Anyone who provides a useful and feasible strategy will be rewarded with 10 imperial merit points, 10 merit points." Fu Changsheng's heart leaped at this. According to the dynasty's designated reward system, killing 10 low-level key cultivating southern barbarians would earn 1 merit point. 10 merit points meant killing nearly 100 low-level southern barbarian cultivators. The temptation was too great. Fu Changsheng glanced at the panel and found he still had 12 clan contribution points to redeem. Without hesitation, he said, "Exchange for information. If this information could reveal the secret method to enter the inner city, he would make a fortune." Buzz! A yellow light surged across the panel. Then, lines of text appeared. 1. There is a spirit stone vein 300 feet deep in the Dulong Lake on the west side of the Wonho Valley. 2. There is a mechanism under the bed on the top floor of the Chenhu building in the inner city of the Xianlong tribe. When the mechanism is opened, there is a short-distance teleportation array. There is a first-class top-grade spirit gathering tree on the opposite side of the moat. 3. There is a hidden river in the moat of the Xianlong tribe that leads directly to the inner city. 4. There is a hidden secret room in the third main room of the back hall of the ancestral temple in the outer city of the Xianlong tribe. A small amount of monster materials are placed in it. 5. 6. Shangguan Feng and Shangguan Wei are sworn enemies. The reason why Shangguan Wei supports the Zhang family is that he wants to use the power of the Zhang family to get a treasure for him when the Xianlan's secret realm opens in 20 years. Shangguan Feng is also determined to get this treasure. Shangguan Feng is becoming more and more satisfied with you. He has intended to support your Fu family and prepare for the secret realm journey 20 years later. Buzz! The panel made a soft beep, the yellow light faded, and all the family contribution points were cleared. Fu Changsheng stared at the information on it, his heart beating rapidly. There were 6 pieces of information, and almost every one of them had practical value. He was obviously lucky in exchanging information this time. His eyes fell on the 3rd piece of information, and his mind raced, thinking about how to cleverly turn this information into its due value. At this time, everyone made many suggestions, but no one could think of an effective way to cleverly enter the inner city. After seeing that no one spoke, Fu Changsheng stepped forward and bowed, saying, "Clan leader Shangguan, Changsheng has a plan. Can you let me try it?" Fu Changsheng hadn't finished speaking. Everyone's eyes fell on him again. Shangguan Wei sneered, "We, the 12 foundation building cultivators, can't think of any good ideas. Could it be that your brain, Fu Changsheng, is naturally more flexible than others? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, Merit and Infiltration into the Inner City. Clan leader Shangguan also agreed with Shangguan Wei's argument, but Shangguan Feng spoke up. Clan leader, since clan leader Fu said he has a good plan, why don't we listen to it? It won't take us long anyway, right? Shangguan Feng was a cultivator in the late foundation establishment stage, and his overall strength ranked among the top 3 in the Shangguan clan. Clan leader Shangguan didn't want to offend him in public, so he nodded slightly to Fu Changsheng. Tell me about your plan. Fu Changsheng nodded slightly, patted the spirit beast bag at his waist, and a silver light flashed. In an instant, several silver-spotted venomous snakes lingered on his arm. Everyone, over a year ago, I accidentally discovered a cave in my clan's town. There is an underground river in this cave, which leads directly to the moat under our Luofang mountain. Since the outer city of the Xianlong tribe also has a river, where does it come from? After all these years, is there also a secret passage leading directly to the inner city that they don't know about? If you are not in a hurry, I am willing to let my spirit snakes enter the moat below to explore the way. Everyone's eyes lit up at this. Shangguan Feng's help wasn't needed this time. Clan leader Shangguan immediately said, Clan leader Fu is truly a heroic young man. Your idea is a good one, worth a try. Second brother, take clan leader Fu down there. We'll await your good news. Shangguan Feng, the second in command in the clan, nodded slightly. He waited for the warship formation to open, then immediately took off on his sword, carrying Fu Changsheng away. Shangguan Wei scoffed inwardly. How could such a coincidence happen? He doubted Fu Changsheng could find the entrance to the hidden river. Shangguan Feng used his invisibility spell, while Fu Changsheng donned his invisibility cloak. When they reached the edge of the moat, Shangguan Feng scanned the surroundings with his spiritual sense and nodded slightly to Fu Changsheng. Fu Changsheng immediately slapped his spirit beast bag. Instantly, hundreds of silver-spotted venomous snakes entered the river. Shangguan Feng was stunned upon witnessing this scene. He had never imagined that Fu Changsheng actually possessed hundreds of silver-spotted venomous snakes. Though only at the early first stage, their sheer number was a formidable advantage. Even a peak-key training cultivator would suffer a severe loss at Fu Changsheng's hands if unprepared. He instantly had a clear idea of who would enter the Xianlan secret realm 20 years from now. It wasn't Fu Changsheng who was controlling these silver-spotted venomous snakes, but the small green snake nestled within his sleeve. Over an hour passed. The men on the warship, clearly impatient, urged Shangguan Feng to board. Fu Changsheng, however, remained motionless. The intelligence provided by the intelligence was always correct. If there was a hidden river in the moat, it must exist. It might just be hidden deeper. Shangguan Feng withstood the pressure for another half hour. Seeing the sun about to set, he said, Clan leader Fu, let's ascend. I know you've tried your best. Fu Changsheng, however, was unwilling to give in and wanted to wait. At this moment, he suddenly felt the presence of another person beside him. It was Shangguan Wei, impatiently waiting, who came down to urge him. Elder Feng, if you don't go up now, the attack on the Xianlong tribe will be postponed again. I know you are a man of loyalty, but you can't trust just anyone. Shangguan Feng frowned. He ignored Shangguan Wei and instead patted Fu Changsheng on the shoulder. Shangguan Feng wasn't in charge of the Shangguan family. Fu Changsheng sighed with regret and immediately ordered the little green snake, Zhaoqing, send him back. The thought had barely left his lips. The little green snake erupted in excitement. Then, with a flash of green light, it plunged into the moat below. Fu Changsheng's eyes lit up, and he said to Shangguan Feng, Senior Feng, we've found the hidden river. There really is a hidden river. Shangguan Feng was stunned for a moment, then smiled. Turning to Shangguan Wei, who stood there stunned, he said, Elder Wei, please go up and inform the clan leader that the hidden river has been found. Shangguan Wei had never expected Fu Changsheng's solution to work. He gritted his teeth, tossed his sleeves, and returned to the treasure ship. The warships landed. The sun had just set, and the sky darkened. Clan leader Shangguan, pleased with having found a way into the inner city, addressed Fu Changsheng in public. Clan leader Fu, remember your 10 merit points. After the battle, they will be recorded in your Fu family merit book along with your performance. Everyone abandoned the treasure ship and silently entered the river. Fu Changsheng led the way, following the guidance of the little green snake, constantly changing direction within the river. Finally, he entered an underwater cave. What appeared to be an ordinary stone wall was actually something he could pass through with a single touch. It was a deception. They swam for about half an hour. With a splash, Fu Changsheng emerged from the water, only to find himself in an underground river. Following closely behind was Shangguan. His ears twitched, and he quickly formed a spell. A soundproof shield suddenly appeared above the pool, muffling the sound of the group surfacing. Pointing upward, Shangguan telepathically announced, "There's someone up there." The underground river indeed led to the inner city. As everyone reached shore, the 12 Foundation establishment cultivators conferred for a moment. Finally, Shangguan said to Fu Changsheng, "The 12 of us will advance to the central hub of the protective formation, seize control of the city defenses, completely seal off the inner and outer city walls, and then annihilate the 7 Foundation establishment cultivators of the Xianlong tribe one by one. Changsheng, you and Hongyu will remain here for now. Once we've eliminated the Xianlong tribe's Foundation establishment cultivators, we'll notify you immediately. You'll then come out to help eliminate the remaining Xianlong cultivators. Do you understand?" Fu Changsheng nodded quickly. He had only just realized that the Xianlong tribe actually had 7 Foundation establishment cultivators. As the 12 of them advanced, Fu Changsheng's mind flashed through several treasure troves of the Xianlong tribe reported by intelligence. He certainly didn't have a share of the Xianlong tribe's true treasury, but the locations suggested by the intelligence were relatively hidden and unlikely to be discovered by these Foundation establishment cultivators. However, before heading up, he needed to determine the location of the Chanho Tower, where the spirit gathering tree was hidden. As for the ancestral temple in the outer city, where the demon beast materials were stored, it shouldn't be difficult to find. The clan didn't have any telepathic spells, so he could only touch Shangguan Hongyu's sleeve and whisper, "Miss Hongyu, do you have a map of the inner and outer city of the Xianlong tribe?" Others might not have it, but Shangguan Hongyu, the only daughter of one of the 3 great masters of the Shangguan family, certainly did. She rummaged through her sleeves and handed Fu Changsheng a rough map. It clearly showed all the buildings in the inner and outer city, with their names marked. Fu Changsheng was delighted. A quick glance revealed that Chanho Tower was indeed located on the western outskirts of the inner city, far from the 3 main halls. When they went up, everyone would head for the 3 main halls, where the treasures lay, and would likely pay little attention to Chanho Tower, let alone the mortal quarters of the outer city. Fu Changsheng silently memorized the map of Chanho Tower in the outer city's ancestral temple. Chapter 43, Killing All Around and Reaping a Rich Harvest. About an hour later, a rapid buzzing sound echoed from Shangguan Hongyu's waist. The voice of the Shangguan clan leader echoed, "The Xianlong tribe's Foundation establishment cultivators have been ambushed and killed. You may ascend. Hongyu, you will lead the clearing of the main hall. Hongshan, you will take charge of the side halls. Clan leader Fu, you will take charge of the Chanho building to the west." Shangguan Hongyu frowned upon hearing this. According to the clan leader's assignments, the Chanho building, where Fu Changsheng was in charge, should yield no valuable finds. Fu Changsheng, however, was extremely satisfied. This was exactly what he had in mind. However, he was still somewhat surprised that the Shangguan clan had eliminated the 7 Xianlong tribe's Foundation establishment cultivators so quickly. The group emerged from the underground passage and immediately split into 4 groups. Fu Changsheng, after determining the direction, donned his invisibility cloak, and headed westward for the Chanho building. He tiptoed upstairs and opened the door, revealing a women's boudoir, the air still lingering with the scent of a young woman's body. The room was divided into 2 sections, one inside and one outside. He carefully examined it several times. After discovering no one was hiding in the room, he lifted the bed and moved a wooden cabinet beneath it. Sure enough, he uncovered an ingenious mechanism. Fu Changsheng waved his sleeve. The window slammed shut, the curtains drawn, and the room was instantly shrouded in darkness. He peered intently, only to see a faint trace of a handprint at the mechanism. Got it, Fu Changsheng rotated according to the pattern. With a click, the ground opened in both directions, revealing a small teleportation array. Within the array, a recessed groove opened. Fu Changsheng slapped his storage bag and placed 10 spirit stones inside. Wait, as he activated the teleportation array, just in case, Fu Changsheng drew his black turtle shield and held it in front of him. He then activated his green woodvine armor and cast a spell on the teleportation array. Buzz! The teleportation array lit up with a brilliant white light. A white curtain of light rose. Fu Changsheng's vision went dark, and he felt the world spinning. After a moment, a flash of white light suddenly appeared before his eyes. We're here, Fu Changsheng was delighted. Here, he could clearly sense the rich spiritual energy rushing towards him. However, the moment he emerged from the formation, suddenly, boom! Several spells fell on him almost simultaneously. The first-grade, top-grade magic weapon shattered with a crack. Boom! The remaining power of the spells rained down on the Kingmu armor, which glowed with a brilliant green light. It barely blocked the wave of spells, but the Kingmu vine armor was already riddled with cracks and could no longer be used. Fu Changsheng's heart trembled. If he hadn't taken out a black turtle shield and Kingmu armor before teleporting, he would have been a corpse by now. Looking closely, he saw 3 late-stage key training masters, 3 mid-stage key training masters, and 4 early-stage key training masters standing around him. 10 people surrounded him. He barely survived. The 3 late-stage key training cultivators on the opposite side were visibly surprised, then immediately shouted, "Attack! Don't give him a chance to contact the outside world, Zhaoqing, Kitchen, come out." Fu Changsheng, narrowly avoiding death, reacted faster than the natives. He communicated with Zhaoqing and Kitchen through his mind, asking them to each take charge of a late-stage key training cultivator while he dealt with a black-robed man. Simultaneously, he slapped his spirit beast bag. Hissing. Hundreds of silver-spotted venomous snakes flashed out, rapidly entwining themselves around the remaining natives. In an instant, the situation shifted. Fu Changsheng was the predator. He pointed at Qianchong Peak, a dark light shrouded it. With a roar, it crashed down like a small mountain towards the black-robed cultivator. Panic flashed in the black-robed cultivator's eyes, and with a loud shout, his muscles bulged, he unexpectedly met Qianchong Peak with his bare hands. Boom! Qianchong Peak crashed into him. But the weight, seemingly capable of instantly crushing the opponent, was forcibly withstood by the opponent's bare hands. A physical cultivators are best suited for close combat. Their strength often surpasses that of cultivators of the same rank. Fu Changsheng dared not underestimate him. He quickly formed a seal and chanted an incantation. Roar! From the flames gathered before him, a fiery dragon condensed, soaring into the air, its tail whipping towards the black-robed figure with lightning speed. The black-robed cultivator flexed his arms, unexpectedly sending Qianchong Fang flying. He gazed at the fiery dragon Fu Changsheng had condensed, a look of disbelief on his face. This is the dragon transformation technique. The dragon transformation technique was a secret of their Qianlong tribe, practiced only by cultivators at the peak of key training and fraught with difficulty. How could this outsider be able to perform it? Suddenly, the black-robed monk thought of Yasin, who had died in Nanyang County. You killed Yasin? His eyes flashed with surging hatred. He pounded his chest with his hands, bones crackling. A wolf's tail sprouted from his buttocks, and his face was covered in green fur. He kicked the ground and soared into the air. He grasped the fire dragon's tail with his bare hands and swung it with all his might, swinging it at Fu Changsheng with a fierce, ferocious blow like a mace. A sneer crossed Fu Changsheng's lips. His hand gestures shifted. The black-robed monk, previously unstoppable, suddenly felt a sharp pain in his arm. Then, as if deflated, his power vanished. The wolf's tail vanished, and he lost his balance in midair. With a thud, he crashed to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. As the dust cleared, revealing his figure, his eyes widened. However, at this point, he was deader than dead. Fu Changsheng flicked his sleeve, and 10 flying needles instantly flew out of the opponent's body. Indeed, while condensing the fire dragon, he had quietly concealed the 10 flying needles within it, launching the attack when the opponent thought it had controlled the fire dragon. After the battle, he glanced back. He saw that Chu Chan and Xiao Qing had already dispatched the other 2 late-stage key training natives. The remaining 7 had already been slain by the venomous bites of the swarming silver-spotted venomous snakes. Chu Chan's mouth gaped in anger. Wisps of souls suddenly rose from the 10 corpses on the ground, sinking into Chu Chan's stomach. Chu Chan's aura surged. Once it digested them, its strength should increase further. Elsewhere, the little green snake was also about to devour the corpses. Fu Changsheng quickly stopped it. Xiao Qing, wait, he said, making a hand seal with his right hand. Streams of spiritual energy transformed into wind blades, slicing through the necks of the 10 corpses. The heads of the 3 late-stage key training barbarians were worth 1 merit point, while the remaining 3 mid-stage key training and 4 low-stage key training heads combined were worth exactly 1 merit point. Adding the 10 he'd earned from finding the hidden river, He had accumulated 12 merit points from the imperial court. Adding the previous points, he had already accumulated 52 merit points, significantly closer to his goal of 100 merit points to become a 9th rank family. Chapter 44, Kill in Inner Armor, Spirit Gathering Tree. Fu Changsheng squatted down and searched the corpses one by one. Perhaps they had fled in such haste that they hadn't found even a single spirit stone. He had even lost his black turtle shield and green wood vine armor. Just as he was feeling disappointed, he placed his hand on the black robe monk's chest, and his eyes lit up. With a swish, he tore the black robe apart. He saw the man wearing a kiln armor. The armor looked hastily put on, without even the slightest effort to refine it. No wonder this black robe could withstand the might of the Thousand Peaks and the Fire Dragon. It turns out he's wearing a second-grade, low-grade protective magical artifact. Kiln armor was a treasure only worthy of Foundation establishment cultivators. Fu Changsheng was satisfied. The heartache of losing his black turtle shield and green wood vine armor instantly vanished. With his kiln armor, even against an early Foundation establishment cultivator, with proper precautions, he could still have a 3-point chance of escape. He immediately tucked it into his arms. Hiss, 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 the long-awaited little green snake flickered its tongue, clearly impatient with its hunger. Fu Changsheng smiled. Zhaoqing, that's enough. Eat now, the little green snake hissed with delight, opened its mouth, and a vortex of suction condensed. In a flash, it devoured the 10 corpses on the ground. However, unlike the autumn cicada, Zhaoqing had just broken through to the late first stage. If she wanted to reach the peak of the first stage, she would probably need to consume the flesh of many cultivators and demonic beasts. Fu Changsheng's gaze fell on the inner part of the cave. That was where the spiritual energy was most abundant. With a previous experience, Fu Changsheng sent the silver-spotted venomous snake to explore the way. After confirming that there were no problems, he headed forward. At the end of the cave, a 10-foot-tall spirit-gathering tree came into view. Wisps of 5-colored spiritual energy swirled around the spirit-gathering tree. Standing beneath it, his internal cultivation techniques involuntarily began to circulate. As expected of a top-grade, first-grade spirit-gathering tree, its effects are more than twice as strong as those achieved by cultivating in the Spirit Spring Well. He had found a treasure. Their tribe only had one Spirit Spring Well, and regularly rotating it was incredibly difficult. This spirit-gathering tree greatly resolved that problem. Fu Changsheng immediately sat cross-legged beneath the spirit-gathering tree. He planned to perform a preliminary ritual on the kiln armor before setting out. He didn't have any protective magical tools, which made him feel insecure. Furthermore, the remnants of the Xianlong tribe were desperate criminals, and a single mistake could lead to their own demise. In the Xianlong tribe's main hall, Patriarch Shangguan sat at the head of the table. The Kigan cultivators who had accompanied the group were carrying heads, one by one, to register their achievements. They took turns, each taking a position behind the Foundation establishment cultivators at the lower level on either side. Clan leader Shangguan glanced at the Kigan cultivators, but didn't see Fu Changsheng. Frowning, he looked at Shangguan Hongyu and said, "Hongyu, contact clan leader Fu. The clearing operation is over. Let him rejoin the team." Shangguan Hongyu shook her head with a look of concern. Clan leader. I tried to contact clan leader Fu an hour ago, but couldn't get through. I even went to Chanho Tower and looked for him, but couldn't find any trace of him. Shangguan Wei, standing to his right, heard this and his eyes lit up. He said pretentiously, "Alice, what a poor fellow. He had just accomplished a great deed, and now he's gone." Shangguan Wei was in high spirits. The inner city wasn't a big place, and since Hongyu said they hadn't found him, it meant Fu Changsheng must have been slain by the remnants of the Xianlong tribe. Well done. Shangguan Wei was about to offer a few more taunts when hurried footsteps echoed outside the door. Everyone looked outside. It was Fu Changsheng, who had disappeared for a long time. Shangguan Wei's expression froze. His good mood vanished in an instant, and he cursed inwardly. Sure enough, a millennium-old scourge, his temper flared. Shangguan Wei's words were filled with tension. Fu Changsheng, everyone's busy wiping out the remnants of the Xianlong tribe. Where have you been hiding to get some rest? Fu Changsheng appeared energetic, with no trace of fighting or killing on his body, as if he had just emerged from a period of retreat. He wasn't carrying a head, which inevitably led to misunderstandings. However, without Fu Changsheng having to speak, clan leader Shangguan smiled and said, We were able to successfully capture the Xianlong tribe this time thanks to clan leader Fu. You deserve a little extra rest, clan leader is right. If Changsheng hadn't allowed us to sneak into the inner city without anyone noticing, attacking the Xianlong tribe's foundation establishment cultivators while they were completely unprepared, we would have had a much harder time killing those 6, Shangguan Feng immediately agreed. The other foundation establishment cultivators nodded slightly. Shangguan Wei frowned, wanting to make a point. The next moment, Fu Changsheng bowed, patted his storage bag, and in a flash of light, 10 heads suddenly floated in the air. Shangguan Hongyu glanced at them and exclaimed in surprise, "Chief, these are the 10 missing Xianlong tribe remnants on the list. It seems they didn't escape the Xianlong tribe and were killed by Chief Fu. 3 were in the late key training stage, 3 were in the middle stage, and 4 were in the early stage." Fu Changsheng was only at the 5th level. Not only the key training cultivators on either side, but even the foundation establishment cultivators present cast admiring glances at Fu Changsheng. Shangguan Wei felt as uncomfortable as if he had eaten a fly. Shangguan Feng, on the other hand, found Fu Changsheng more and more pleasing to the eye. Chief Shangguan smiled and said, as expected of Chief Fu, very good, very good. You've taken care of these few escaped cultivators. From now on, all the cultivators of the Xianlong tribe have been annihilated. Next, let's decide how to attack the Nidang tribe. Fu Changsheng bowed and stood side by side with Shangguan Hongyu. Shangguan Hongyu gave him a thumbs up and whispered, "Chief Fu, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. Next time we have a chance, let's go hunting together, it's a deal." Fu Changsheng's eyes lit up. Shangguan Hongyu was at the peak of key training, so if they were willing to take him with them, he was perfectly willing. Shangguan Feng, sitting in the front, overheard their whispers behind him, and his lips curled slightly. They discussed how to attack the Nidang tribe for half a cup of tea before deciding on a plan. The Nidang tribe sat on Nidang Mountain. Unlike the Xianlong tribe, which had built inner and outer walls, they had emulated the aristocratic families within the Great Wall and deployed a second-grade, superior mountain protection formation on Nidang Mountain. They intended to break in. "We must first break the formation," clan leader Shangguan said. "We have 2 forbidden beads. As long as we find the flaw in the enemy's mountain protection formation and breach it, it won't be a problem. Furthermore, we've chosen a good time for this battle. It happens to be the moment that 2 major tribes have been clashed, leaving both sides devastated. Only 5 foundation establishment warriors remain from the Nidang tribe, and 2 are seriously injured. Everyone should be well rested, so we'll set off now." After a pause, clan leader Shangguan Chen said, "Elder Chen, I'll have to trouble you to stay and guard the Xianlong tribe's formation." Chapter 45, Spiritual Medicine Garden, an important piece of information. After clan leader Shangguan stood up, everyone followed. Fu Changsheng, walking behind Shangguan Hongyu, whispered, "Miss Hongyu, may I go to the outer city first?" According to intelligence, the ancestral temple of the Xianlong tribe in the outer city still contains a small amount of demon beast materials. If they don't go and retrieve them this time, there might not be another opportunity. It seems the Shangguan family is clearly aiming to take over the Xianlong tribe city. "No problem, I'll talk to my father." Shangguan Hongyu nodded slightly. They have 12 foundation establishment cultivators, while the Nidang tribe only has 3 capable of fighting. This battle could easily break the Nidang tribe's mountain protection formation, making it a sure thing. Moreover, they are all key cultivators. They will only enter the battle later. After thanking them, Fu Changsheng emerged from the inner city, donning his invisibility cloak, and quickly headed south to the Xianlong tribe's ancestral temple. All the cultivators in the tribe had been exterminated, leaving only a mere mortal guard in the temple. He entered the temple with almost no effort. Intelligence indicated the secret chamber was in the 3rd main room of the rear hall. Pushing the door open, he found the room seemingly furnished as a study. After searching around, his eyes fell on the bookshelf. Neatly arranged, books lay one upon another, one inscribed with characters from the interior of the Great Wall. Fu Changsheng, delighted, tried to pull the ancient tome out. With a creaking sound, the bookshelf flipped outward, revealing an entrance. Just in case, Fu Changsheng cast a spell on his kiln armor, sparking a red light and forming a shield around him. The moment he entered the secret chamber, whizzing and whizzing, poison-tipped arrows shot towards him, landing on the kiln armor's shield with a clang, before finally falling away. The shield remained motionless. Fu Changsheng couldn't help but exult. As expected of a second-tier magical weapon, its defensive power is truly extraordinary. Descending the stone steps, a small chamber came into view. A variety of demonic beast materials were spread out on the long table in the room. Although they were all cut from first-tier demonic beasts, there were over 30 of them. With so many raw materials, Liu Runzi could refine a magical weapon for each member of the clan. Fu Changsheng waved his sleeve, storing all the demonic beast materials on the long table into his storage bag. At that moment, a familiar voice rang in his mind. Ling, you have avenged the death of your clansmen and eliminated a major threat to the clan. You have earned 58 family contribution points. Fu Changsheng was delighted. This meant he could enter the lottery once and redeem 4 pieces of intelligence. With a war with the Niatan tribe imminent, if he could redeem a useful magical weapon, he would have another trump card in his hand. He immediately thought, redeem the lottery. Buzz! The panel in his sea of consciousness trembled slightly, and a large amount of yellow light surged. As the family contribution points dropped from 58 to 8, a box suddenly appeared in his sleeve. I wonder what I'll get this time. With a hint of anticipation, the box was opened. An ancient flying sword came into view. It's actually a flying sword. Fu Changsheng was both surprised and delighted. He possessed the Qian Chongfeng, 1000 peaks, 4 large-scale attacks and the Fizhen, flying needle, 4 sneak attacks, but he lacked a flexible attacking weapon. The moment he reached out to touch it, a stream of information streamed into his sea of consciousness. A first-grade, top-grade flying fish sword. This sword contains a hidden restriction. When activated, it can become invisible and traceless, and it was a top-grade magical weapon with an invisible restriction. This lottery draw was truly a stroke of luck. Delighted, Fu Changsheng immediately imprinted his spiritual imprint on the flying fish sword. He continued, exchange for information. If this information could lead him to treasure trove like last time, that would be fantastic. Buzz! The panel trembled slightly. A surge of yellow light. Then, lines of text appeared. 1. The Niuten tribe's mountain protection formation is a formation within a formation, presided over by a third-tier formation master within the tribe. 2. Based on your performance over the past few days, Shangguan is very pleased with you and has already selected you as a candidate to enter the Xianlan secret realm in 20 years. 3. The sycamore trees halfway up the Niuten tribe's mountain are a decoy. They actually house the Niuten tribe's spiritual medicine garden, guarded by a second-tier demon beast. 4. Shangguan led his team to the Niuten tribe's treasure vault but was killed by a hidden expert, Xianlan's secret realm. Fu Changsheng had never heard of this before. This was the second time the intelligence mentioned it. Since it was a secret realm, it must contain numerous rare treasures. To be chosen by Shangguan was a great honor. But when he saw the 4th piece of intelligence, his pupils shrank. Shangguan had actually perished in this great battle. The Fu family hadn't been harassed by the other 4 great families or independent cultivators until now because of the might of Shangguan. If Shangguan were to die, their peaceful development would be difficult. Especially with the newly arrived Zhang family, they were already affiliated with Shangguan Wei. Shangguan Wei and Shangguan were already at odds. If Shangguan were to die, Shangguan Wei would likely try to have the Zhang family annex their Fu family. We must not let Shangguan get hurt. Fu Changsheng's mind raced. However, it wasn't his place to intervene in the planning of the war. What should we do? While he was brooding, Shangguan Hongyu noticed him standing still outside the ancestral temple for a long time. She quickly approached him, asking with concern, "Clan leader Fu, what's wrong?" Seeing Shangguan Hongyu, Fu Changsheng's mind raced, and he immediately came up with an idea. "Miss Hongyu, to be honest, when I slaughtered those 10 remnants of the Xianlong tribe, I also gathered some useful information from them." Wait a minute, Shangguan Hongyu's eyes lit up, and she formed a hand seal with her right hand. A soundproof shield enveloped the 2 of them. "Clan leader Fu, you may speak now." Fu Changsheng glanced around, seeing no one was paying attention. He then transmitted his message. "Miss Hongyu, there's a hidden spiritual medicine garden halfway up the mountainside of the Niudeng tribe. However, it's said to be guarded by a second-tier demonic beast. I'm afraid the 2 of us wouldn't be able to handle it. Could you suggest to your father that he take charge of that area? Generally speaking, the resources of the mountain are concentrated in the treasure vault. However, the treasures in the vault are divided equally among the 12 great foundation establishment cultivators, leaving key cultivation cultivators like them to pick up the slack." Shangguan Feng's control of the mountainside area wouldn't affect his harvest. Shangguan Hongyu happily said, "A spiritual medicine garden guarded by a second-tier demonic beast is bound to contain second-tier spiritual herbs and medicinal herbs. Furthermore, the location is secret. The three of us can divide it among ourselves." My father would certainly agree. Then please, Miss Hongyu, persuade Senior Feng. As long as Shangguan Feng survived, the Fu family would have another 200 years of room for development. At least. There would be no problem in the next 10 years. Furthermore, he could use this to enter the Xianlan's secret realm indicated by intelligence. The two quickened their pace and caught up with the troops ahead. Chapter 46, Soul-Destroying Array, Dangerous Situation. Shangguan Hongyu stepped forward and whispered a few words to Shangguan Feng. Shangguan Feng glanced at Fu Changsheng from the corner of his eye, clearly surprised and delighted, before nodding slightly. Shangguan Hongyu smiled broadly at Fu Changsheng. "Chief Fu, my father has agreed, a promise is good." Fu Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Shangguan Feng wasn't one to hold back. After arriving at the Nidang tribe from the Xianlang tribe, daylight had barely broken. Everyone hid within the warship. The formation master went to locate the center of the Nidang Mountain Protective Formation. The two tribes had been fighting for a while. The Nidang tribe wasn't as lively as usual. Even after the sun rose, the protective formation showed no sign of activating, and the mountain gate was heavily guarded by guards. There were only 3 foundation establishment cultivators capable of fighting. The Nidang tribe was clearly planning to retreat and recuperate, fearing another attack from the Xianlang tribe. They remained aboard the warship for 10 days. Fu Changsheng took the opportunity to fully refine the kiln armor. Finally, Chief Shangguan transferred Shangguan Chen from the Xianlang tribe. Working together, the two formation masters finally found a way to break the formation. Shangguan Chen bowed to Chief Shangguan and said, "Chief, the protective formation on Nidang Mountain may appear to be only a second-tier formation, but it's actually a formation within a formation. It's composed of 2 second-tier, top-grade formations, nearly as powerful as a third-tier formation. The center of the formation is in the southwest Xianqian position. However, relying solely on 2 second-tier forbidden breaking beads won't be enough to break through. When the forbidden breaking beads are detonated, a spiritual weapon must also be detonated. Only then can the formation be broken. Spiritual weapons are treasures only possessed by great cultivators of the Purple Mansion." Everyone frowned upon hearing this. A third-tier spiritual weapon would cost nearly 100,000 spirit stones. Patriarch Shangguan looked at the 2 recruited independent cultivators and said, "Fellow Taoist Xianfu, you 2 will bring a spiritual weapon. Once we conquer Niaten Mountain, it will become your property." How about that? Lin Xianfu and his wife had joined the Eastern Wilderness because they wanted a second-tier spiritual vein. By securing Niaten Mountain and earning enough imperial merit points, their Lin family could ascend directly from independent cultivators to 9th-tier aristocratic family. Lin Xianfu turned to look at his fellow cultivators. The two seemed to be discussing via telepathy. After a long pause, Lin Xianfu nodded in agreement. "We don't have any spiritual weapons, but we can pay the corresponding spiritual stones. But there's one condition: if the spiritual vein of Niaten Mountain is damaged or its quality degrades during the attack, you must compensate us for the difference." In the Eastern Wilderness, demons and monsters were rampant. Securing a spiritual vein was a difficult task. Those present showed no interest in competing, and all nodded slightly. Patriarch Shangguan patted his storage bag. A pristine spiritual weapon appeared in his hand. "I'll provide the third-tier spiritual weapon. Fellow Taoist Xianfu, you can simply replenish the spiritual stones after the battle." Clearly, clan leader Shangguan wasn't worried about fellow Taoist Lin Xianfu escaping. Everyone reached a consensus. The warship sailed to the southwest of Niaten Mountain. Shangguan Chen and another formation master also produced formation flags and quickly deployed them in various mysterious locations. With a whisper, they said, "Soul Annihilating Formation, activate." With a boom, 4 beams of light shot up into the sky. A vortex of spiritual energy formed in the air, infusing it into the Tiangan position of Niaten Mountain's protective formation. Shangguan Chen shouted, "Now! Detonate the forbidden breaking or ban the spiritual weapon." Before he could finish his words, Shangguan Feng and Shangguan Wei swung their swords, and a forbidden breaking orb whizzed into the soul annihilating formation. The third-tier spiritual weapon in clan leader Shangguan's hands also fell into the vortex. The three shouted in unison, "Explode, rumble." The earth shook. A massive mushroom cloud rose into the sky. A breach suddenly appeared in Niaten Mountain's protective formation. Through the gap, the patrolling guards could be seen with panic on their faces, quickly producing their jade communication talismans to issue warnings. "Kill!" clan leader Shangguan shouted. 12 Foundation establishment cultivators instantly charged into the formation. Warships followed suit. For a moment, the cries of death filled Niaten Mountain. 11 of the 12 Foundation establishment cultivators charged towards the mountaintop, where the treasure vault lay and the caves of the Niaten tribe's Foundation establishment cultivators. Only Shangguan Feng, flying with Fu Changsheng and Shangguan Hongyu, turned back and flew towards the mountainside, practically ignoring the panicked Niaten natives as they fled. As they reached the mountainside, they indeed saw a sycamore tree. Shangguan Feng frowned. "Clan leader Fu, is this the spiritual medicine garden you mentioned?" But the spiritual energy here mid-mountain was practically non-existent, and even the nearby trees were languishing. It hardly looked like a place with abundant spiritual energy. Fu Changsheng, however, trusted the intelligence system to provide false information. After all, there had been no such precedent. Fu Changsheng observed intently for a moment, his eyes brightening. "Senior Feng, look at that sycamore tree. The leaves don't move when the wind blows." This hidden formation bore some resemblance to the one he'd encountered in the mountains behind Nanyang County. Shangguan Feng glanced at it, his eyes brightening. "You wait outside. I'll go in first. Wait until I send you a message before you go in." With that, Shangguan Feng dodged and crashed into the sycamore tree. The expected bloody head didn't materialize, he miraculously vanished into the tree. Shangguan Hongyu clenched the red silk in her hand. She was clearly still a little worried. After all, there was a second-level demonic beast guarding it. They waited for about half a cup of tea. But Shangguan Feng still hadn't sent any information. Shangguan Hongyu couldn't wait any longer. "Clan leader Fu, you stay here. I'll go in first." "Wait, Miss Hongyu, I'll go with you." One more person meant more strength. He didn't want anything to happen to Shangguan Feng and his daughter. Shangguan Hongyu's heart warmed that Fu Changsheng, knowing the danger, had willingly gone along, but she still said, "Stand behind me." The two of them swung into the sycamore trees. Their vision shifted, and a peach blossom forest suddenly came into view. What's going on? There was no sign of Shangguan Feng in the forest. Where was the promised spiritual medicine garden? Fu Changsheng froze for a moment, his nose twitching. He immediately sent a telepathic message. "Oh no. This is a hallucinogenic array. Miss Hongyu, hold your breath. There's hallucinogenic pollen in the air." Shortly after they entered, they felt as if they had fallen onto a cotton bed, their bodies going limp. When Fu Changsheng regained consciousness, he immediately swallowed the detoxification pill he'd received from GXIU. After handing the remaining pill to Shangguan Hongyu, he patted his spirit beast bag and said, "Zhaoqing, hurry up and swallow this hallucinogenic pollen." Last time in the silver-spotted snake cave, Zhaoqing had already been able to absorb the poisonous gas. As for the hallucinogenic pollen before her, whether Zhaoqing could swallow it was a matter of trial and error. At the same time, he released the hundreds of silver-spotted snakes from the spirit beast bag, sending them flying in different directions to search for the exit from the psychedelic array. The little green snake flashed out of the spirit beast bag. Chapter 47, Second Level Red-Tailed Fox, Life-Saving Grace. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The little green snake straightened up, its mouth slightly opened, and a suction force emanated. The surrounding red powder, as if summoned, rapidly gathered towards the vortex and was swallowed by Zhaoqing. However, the hallucinogenic pollen within the formation was boundless, and Zhaoqing could not consume it all in a short time. Squeak, squeak, squeak. At the same time, the hissing of a red-tailed fox echoed within the formation, seemingly coming from all directions. Buzz! The next moment, circles of sound waves descended from the sky, aimed directly at Shangguan Hongyu. A soul attack. This is undoubtedly the most deadly for a key cultivator who has not yet cultivated spiritual consciousness. Shangguan Hongyu waved her sleeve, and a handkerchief reeking of Zen fragrance expanded in the wind, instantly intercepting the seemingly invisible sound waves. Sizzle! A dozen claws suddenly appeared in the air, their sharp claws comparable to those of a high-grade magical weapon. They quickly and accurately grabbed the handkerchief. With a swish, the handkerchief shattered. The sonic waves, once swirling in circles, coalesced into a spiral drill, piercing Shangguan Hongyu's brow with lightning speed. A soul attack. Ordinary magical weapons were powerless to stop it. Shangguan Hongyu dodged with a flicker, but the sonic drill was as elusive as a shadow, and with a hallucinogenic pollen invading her body, her vision blurred, and her dodging became clumsy. All this seemed to take ages, but in reality, it occurred the moment they entered. Fu Changsheng hurriedly waved the Hundred Ghosts banner. A chilling wind blew, and a ghostly aura filled the air. Qiu Cham flashed out, her mouth opening. Roar! A terrifying wave of sound erupted, colliding with the sonic waves. With a bang, the sonic waves shattered. Ah! A shrill scream echoed from all around. But the red-tailed foxes' voices were erratic, making it impossible to determine their location. If the attack dragged on, both he and Shangguan Hongyu would surely lose their minds. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Meanwhile, the scattered silver-spotted venomous snakes transmitted a message. While they hadn't found the exit of the illusion array, they had located the red-tailed fox's hiding place, Miss Hongyu, southwest. Before she finished speaking, Shangguan Hongyu swung the red silk in her hand. It spun and transformed into a binding rope. As the rope pulled back, it bound 10 red-tailed foxes. Without a second thought, Fu Changsheng pointed his flying sword in front of him. With a clang, the sword trembled slightly, transforming into 10 sword energies. With lightning speed, they pierced the necks of the 10 red-tailed foxes. The flying sword retracted, and the 10 red-tailed foxes fell to the ground. Hiss, hiss, the silver-spotted venomous snakes transmitted another message. Fu Changsheng's eyes lit up. Miss Hongyu, Senior Feng is 100 paces due north. Shangguan Feng was a late Foundation establishment cultivator. Finding him guaranteed their safety. They both applied a talisman for quick travel. Fu Changsheng extended his hand, saying, Miss Hongyu, I'll lead the way. It was difficult to discern direction within the illusion, and it was easy to go in circles. Fu Changsheng relied on Zhao Qing's connection to move forward, so it was naturally safer for the two of them to walk hand in hand. Shangguan Hongyu didn't hesitate, grasping Fu Changsheng's right hand. The two walked hand in hand. After 100 steps, they suddenly heard the sounds of fierce fighting. Looking closely, they saw Shangguan Feng dancing wildly in the air. Behind him, a long red-tailed fox tail whistled out, threatening to wrap around his neck. Senior Feng, watch out, Fu Changsheng shouted. It was clear that Shangguan Feng had entered the illusion. In a split second, Fu Changsheng, with almost no hesitation, struck a spell at Changsheng Peak. With a roar, the peak collided with the fox's long tail. The seemingly indestructible Changsheng Peak was instantly ripped away by the fox's tail. Oh no! It's a second-level red-tailed fox. Fu Changsheng's pupils shrank. He immediately donned his invisibility cloak and activated the earth-escaping talisman in his hand. He vanished instantly. With a thud, a claw swung down from where he stood, cracking the ground and forming a gully over 10 feet deep. If Fu Changsheng hadn't dodged, he would have been dead. After escaping underground, the silver-spotted venomous snake just happened to report finding the exit, and coincidentally, it was not far from him. Fu Changsheng didn't rush back, but instead flashed out of the illusion array. What came into view was a large spiritual medicine garden. At the entrance to the garden, a pink illusion array stood within it. Above it, a second-level red-tailed fox hovered within it. Fu Changsheng immediately tugged at the red string he had tied to Shangguan Hongyu's thumb. The string trembled, and a rainbow light shot out from the illusion array. Then, the rainbow light faded. Standing atop the flying swords were none other than Shangguan Feng and his daughter. Shangguan Feng, a late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator, had nearly perished in the red-tailed fox's illusionary array. Furious, he flicked his flying sword, and it spun, a Bagua aura appearing in the air. Within the aura, Shangguan Feng's spells shifted. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Flying swords soared through the air, one after another. An endless stream, a hail of swords descended upon the second-stage red-tailed fox. The red-tailed fox, only at the early second stage, excelled in illusion. With its illusions broken, it was no match for the late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. It immediately swung its claws. Ding, ding, ding. After blocking several flying swords, a white light surged from its body, clearly attempting to escape. You're dreaming, Shangguan Feng flicked the Bagua aura. The myriad sword energies trembled slightly, condensing into a massive sword. The sword, raised high, instantly locked onto the red-tailed fox, rendering it unable to move. The red-tailed fox, merely guarding the spiritual medicine garden, was now defeated and begged for mercy. But Shangguan Feng showed no mercy and swung his sword. With a swish, the giant sword sliced through the fox's brows, cleaving it in two. A demonic pill tinkled to the ground. With the death of the red-tailed foxes, the illusion at the entrance to the spiritual medicine garden dissipated. It was a false alarm. The three breathed a sigh of relief. Shangguan Hongyu bowed to Fu Changsheng. Changsheng, if it weren't for your spirit snake finding the exit just now, my father and I would have died here today. You saved my life again. I cannot thank you enough for your kindness. Hongyu will remember it forever. Shangguan Hongyu changed her address to Fu Changsheng from clan leader Fu to Changsheng. It was obvious that she really regarded Fu Changsheng as her own. Shangguan Feng, who was standing aside, felt a little embarrassed. He was a cultivator in the late foundation building stage, but he needed a low-level cultivator in the middle stage of key training to rescue him. If this got out, people would probably laugh their heads off. However, if it weren't for Fu Changsheng, he would have been in danger today. So, although he felt a little embarrassed, he still bowed to Fu Changsheng and said, Changsheng, I won't say much else. If you need anything in the future, just come to me, Uncle Feng. Chapter 48, Big Harvest, Changes in the Treasure House. Yes, Uncle Feng. Fu Changsheng, taking advantage of the situation, immediately changed his address. Shangguan Feng flicked his sleeve, and two wine blades severed a pair of claws from a second-level red-tailed fox. He then carried them to Fu Changsheng, carrying them with spiritual energy. Although this red-tailed fox is only at the early second stage, its claws are incredibly sharp. You can take it to the market and ask a weapon master to refine it into a second-level magical weapon, perfect for close combat. Shangguan Feng had killed the second-level red-tailed fox. Besides the demon pill, the red-tailed fox's claws were its most valuable asset. Fu Changsheng hadn't expected Shangguan Feng to reward him, and he joyfully accepted them with both hands. Thank you, Uncle Feng. He also harvested the claws of 10 first-level red-tailed foxes and placed them in a storage bag. The three of them turned to gaze at the three light shields that came into view. The spiritual medicine garden was divided into 3 spiritual fields. To prevent predation by birds and beasts, a simple isolation formation had been set up. Shangguan Feng approached the largest spiritual field and cast a spell. A spiritual light curtain rose, revealing 30 acres of golden red marrow rice, ripe for harvest and thriving. Shangguan Hongyu saw Fu Changsheng's eyes light up and said with a smile, Daddy, the Changsheng clan makes wine. We don't have much use for this red marrow rice, so give it all to Changsheng. Yes. Shangguan Feng looked down on these first-tier spiritual items. Fu Changsheng, however, nodded gratefully to Shangguan Hongyu. After harvesting, the 30 acres of red marrow rice would fetch nearly 1,000 spirit stones, and brewing spiritual wine would almost double that. For him, the value of these 30 acres alone was worth the trip to the eastern wilderness. The second spiritual field, covering 3 acres, was planted with a grade first-tier blood spirit grass after the magic circle was activated. The blood spirit pails made from this blood spirit grass were particularly effective for cultivators in the middle stages of key training. Shangguan Feng was somewhat disappointed, but he still said, Changsheng, these 3 acres of blood spirit grass are yours too. Fu Changsheng felt a little embarrassed. After all, it was he who had called Shangguan Feng to this spiritual medicine garden, and it was Shangguan Feng who had killed the red-tailed fox. If he took all the benefits, he would inevitably feel guilty. They arrived at the last spiritual field. It covered less than an acre. Shangguan Feng cast a spell, and the light curtain of the formation was lifted. Then a touch of emerald green came into view. The last spiritual field was planted with second-grade, top-grade shining flowers. Fu Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief. Shangguan Feng's trip was finally not in vain, and the 3 of them were delighted. But there was no need to worry too much. Fu Changsheng and the other 2 immediately began harvesting the red marrow rice and spiritual flowers and herbs. He was worried the 3 wouldn't be able to finish the work in a short while, but then Shangguan Feng slapped his storage bag. Azure light flashed, and 6 armor talismans floated in the air. Shangguan Feng cast a spell, and the armor talismans glowed brightly with yellow light. Then, with a rumble, a powerful warrior materialized. This is. Fu Changsheng had never seen such a sight before. These powerful warriors were all at the early stages of key training. With a single wave of their spells, the red marrow rice plants fell one by one. They were unaware of the effort and felt no fatigue. They worked with incredible speed, harvesting 10 acres of spiritual farmland in less than half an hour. Elsewhere, 11 foundation-building cultivators rushed to the mountain top. After a fierce battle, 5 of the Niatan tribe's foundation-building cultivators were killed. Everyone excitedly rushed to the treasure vault and stood in front of the storehouse. Chief Shangguan glanced behind him and saw Shangguan Feng hadn't arrived yet. He said, "Let's wait for Elder Feng, Chief. Elder Feng might have found some treasure and is busy right now. Since he's not available, let's go in first." Shangguan Wei didn't want to wait for his mortal enemy. The others, eager to see what the Niatan tribe's treasure vault held, nodded in agreement. Shangguan Wei saw this and immediately waved his sleeve, casting a spell into the stone door. With a click, the key slotted in. After a few turns, the stone door slowly opened to both sides, revealing a burst of precious light. Shangguan Wei immediately dodged and rushed in first. Seeing an entire wall of neatly arranged second-level spiritual objects, Shangguan Wei was delighted and quickly put the nearest bead into his sleeve. Chief Shangguan was the last to enter the vault. No, generally, treasure vaults are protected by protective magic arrays. Yet they entered with ease. While important treasures typically have high-level restrictions, the treasures before them lay exposed, as if waiting for their capture. It's a trap. Everyone, retreat. Clan leader Shangguan instantly dodged and retreated. The other foundation establishment cultivators, startled, regained their composure, and dropped their treasures. Then, a dark voice echoed from within the treasury, "Explode," with a boom. The treasures held by the crowd exploded. 3 foundation establishment cultivators, driven by greed and unable to place their treasures in time, were instantly blasted into a mass of flesh and blood. Shangguan Wei, protected by his kiln armor, narrowly escaped the calamity, but his right palm was pulverized, causing him to wail. At the same time, a gaunt old Taoist priest flashed out from the treasury, his ghostly claws darting towards Shangguan Wei's chest, who was at the forefront, as swift as lightning. A rumbling explosion echoed from the mountain top. Shangguan Feng and the other 2, halfway up the mountain, had clearly noticed it. Shangguan Feng's pupils shrank, and he quickly said, "Hongyu, Changsheng, you stay here. I'll go up and take a look." As the Shangguan family's chief elder, he couldn't just sit back and watch his people suffer. Shangguan Feng's sword transformed into a streak of rainbow light and vanished on the spot. Fu Changsheng murmured to himself, "It seems the expert from the treasure vault has appeared." If Shangguan Feng had been a step too late, he wouldn't have been the one attacked. With the 12 foundation establishment warriors working together, Shangguan Feng should have avoided this disaster. Despite this, Fu Changsheng still felt a little worried. After working with the powerful warriors to harvest the spiritual herbs and medicines, the red marrow rice, he said, "Miss Hongyu, let's go up and take a look too." "Yes." Shangguan Hongyu nodded slightly. The sounds of fighting on the mountain top had ceased. Shangguan Hongyu was quite confident in her father's fighting ability, so she was not in a hurry. After collecting the 6 powerful armored warriors, she thought for a moment and handed one to Fu Changsheng. "Changsheng, keep it for now. When you are stationed in the wild in the future, you can use it to protect you. It can also help you with some trivial matters in your cave." This. How could you be so embarrassed? Fu Changsheng reached out and accepted the powerful armored warrior. The powerful armored warriors were not sold in the market. The price of one was probably hundreds of spirit stones. He really couldn't refuse such a good thing. When the 2 came out of the spiritual medicine garden, they encountered several waves of people from the Niatan tribe who were fleeing for their lives. They immediately slashed them with their swords. When they reached the top of the mountain, they saw that the treasure house had become a ruin. Outside the ruins, many key training monks had gathered. The atmosphere was a little depressing. Faint sobbing could be heard. Someone died. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49, Evil Will Be Punished, Betting. Fu Changsheng peered over and saw 3 incomplete corpses neatly laid out before the ruins. Shangguan Wei's right arm was severed at the root, and a fist-sized hole pierced his chest, piercing his back. 3 foundation establishment cultivators had perished. Fu Changsheng nearly cried out in shock. Then, a second thought dawned on him. The battle from the Xianlong tribe to the Nidang tribe had been too easy. With the Shangguan family already possessing 12 foundation establishment cultivators, they held a commanding advantage. Entering the treasury, faced with a dazzling array of treasures, they were inevitably distracted. In a battle between masters, a single moment of carelessness could lead to death, especially since the enemy was lurking in the shadows. Shangguan Hongyu, stunned by this scene, was filled with fear. Her deceased fifth uncle and father had always fought together. If her father hadn't followed them to the spiritual medicine garden, her father's body would be lying there. It was thanks to Fu Changsheng that her father had escaped. Shangguan Hongyu looked at Fu Changsheng with gratitude. Fu Changsheng nodded slightly, saying nothing more. Clan leader Shangguan sighed and said, "Since we embarked on the path of cultivation, we've been walking on the edge of a knife. After this incident, everyone must remember this, remain vigilant at all times." With that, everyone observed a moment of silence, gathered the remains from the ground, and after clearing the mountain of the remnants of the Nidang tribe, they boarded the warships and sailed majestically towards Wonho Valley. On the warships, Shangguan Wei, having regained some strength, opened his eyes, glanced at the crowd, and then glared at Shangguan Feng. Before the attack on Nidang Mountain, Shangguan Feng had suddenly volunteered to defend the mountainside. Initially, he'd been baffled, but now it seemed the other side had clearly foreseen the dangers within the treasure vault, yet Shangguan Feng hadn't warned him. Otherwise, how could he have been so seriously injured by the old Taoist priest? His injuries would take decades to heal. And even if he did, he wouldn't be able to fight easily in the future. He was essentially a decorative figurine. Had Shangguan Feng given advance notice, he wouldn't have ended up like this. The warship was moving at a rapid pace, arriving at Wonho Valley in a flash. 3 spirit seekers, specially selected by the Shangguan family, stepped out. Holding magical instruments and chanting spells, they searched the valley for 10 days, yet they found no trace of the spirit stone mine. The Shangguan family had sacrificed 3 foundation establishment cultivators for this mine, and Shangguan Wei had been rendered nearly useless. Unable to vent his anger, Shangguan Wei's gaze suddenly fell on Fu Changsheng. The pressure of the late foundation establishment cultivator poured out, transforming into a wave of sound that crushed Fu Changsheng. Fu Changsheng retreated repeatedly. If the pressure from a late foundation establishment cultivator had landed on him, his bones would have been crushed to shreds. Daddy, Shangguan Hongyu, who had been standing with Fu Changsheng, saw this and called for help. Boom. A critical moment. Shangguan Feng flashed and landed in front of Fu Changsheng. His shoulders shook, and a powerful pressure poured out, colliding with Shangguan Wei's. Bang! Sand and rocks flew. Shangguan Wei, already severely injured, was no match for him. He was directly thrown back, and a long stream of blood spurted out in the air. Clan leader Shangguan arrived half a step late. He waved his sleeves and caught Shangguan Wei, frowning and scolding. "You are the elders of the family, but you are so impulsive. Aren't you afraid of losing face in front of so many juniors?" Shangguan Wei got nothing from this trip. Instead, he became a waste. His temper became more cruel and perverse. He said in a cold voice, "Clan leader, Fu Changsheng, that little bastard, keeps saying that there is a spirit stone vein hidden in the Wonho Valley, but the 3 spirit seekers in our clan have been searching for 10 days and haven't found any trace. It's obvious that Fu Changsheng, that little bastard, wants to use our Shangguan family to help his Fu family get rid of the Xianlong tribe and get revenge. Just now, I just wanted to teach that little bastard Fu Changsheng a lesson. Elder Feng is so good. He just turned his elbow outward and helped outsiders. Clan leader, according to clan rules, Elder Feng has to go to the punishment hall to receive 50 thunder whips." Although Shangguan Wei's words were unpleasant, many present felt it was obvious that Fu Changsheng was using someone else's knife to kill someone. However, Fu Changsheng had helped them capture Xianlong City with near effortless ease, so even though they knew it, they didn't say much. After all, the death penalty for the 3 foundation establishment cultivators wasn't Fu Changsheng's fault. Seeing everyone acquiesce, Shangguan Wei grew even more complacent. "Clan leader, that little bastard Fu Changsheng kept saying he was guaranteed by the entire Fu family. Since the spirit stone vein can't be found, there's no need to keep this little bastard." Shangguan Wei kept calling him a little bastard. Even a Buddha would be furious at this. He immediately broke free from Shangguan Hongyu's obstruction, stepped forward, and said calmly, Elder Wei, are you saying there are no spirit stone veins in this Wonho Valley? Yes, if there were, a spirit hunter wouldn't have been unable to find one in a month. What if I find it, Elder Wei? How will you cope? Even a spirit seeker can't do it, and you, a mere mid-stage key training cultivator, dare to boast. If you truly can find the vein, I, Wei, will not take a cent of the spirit stone dividends that belong to me. I will even bow and apologize to you in front of everyone. But if you, Fu Changsheng, can't find it, then I will offer you the heads of every member of your Fu family. How do you say? Okay, then it's a deal. Fu Changsheng agreed without hesitation, and set a deadline of 2 weeks. Shangguan Hongyu, standing by, grew anxious. She also thought that perhaps the information Fu Changsheng had received was false. Even if it was true, Fu Changsheng wasn't a professional spirit seeker, so how could he possibly find the vein? She quickly whispered, Changsheng, don't act on impulse. Just be patient with him for a few years. Miss Hongyu, do you think I'm the type to act on impulse? After spending a few days together, Fu Changsheng had always struck her as a mature, composed man. He immediately shook his head. Fu Changsheng smiled confidently, wait for good news from me. Seeing this, everyone was divided. Some were pessimistic, some were full of anticipation, and of course, some were just there to watch the excitement. Clan leader Shangguan glanced back and forth between Shangguan Hongyu and Fu Changsheng, his thoughts etched in his mind. Fu Changsheng landed in the Valley of 10,000 Flowers from the warship and slapped his storage bag. Instantly, a flash of green light appeared, and a small green snake stood upright on the ground. Then, hundreds of silver-spotted venomous snakes flew out of the spirit beast's bag. Everyone suddenly remembered that Fu Changsheng had relied on the silver-spotted venomous snakes to find the hidden river leading to Xianlong City's inner city. Could these silver-spotted venomous snakes also be able to find spirit stone veins? Shangguan Wei, observing Fu Changsheng's confidence, had initially felt a wave of worry and regret, but now, seeing that he was still using the old method, he smiled coldly, already imagining a river of blood flowing through the Fu family's territory. Chapter 50, Dividends, Mystery of Life. Fu Changsheng obtained specific information from the intelligence system. A spirit stone vein lay 300 feet below the bottom of Duolong Lake, west of the Myriad Blossom Valley. Otherwise, he wouldn't have rashly gambled the lives of his entire clan. Of course, he couldn't head straight for his destination at first. He had the silver-spotted viper search the Myriad Blossom Valley for 10 days before finally allowing it to infiltrate Duolong Lake. During those 10 days, the Shangguan clan's spirit hunters were also busy, but despite their efforts, they still found no clues. Shangguan Wei coldly said, Clan leader, we've been wasting our time here for nearly a month. Do you still believe what that little bastard says? Everyone present believed that there was no spirit stone vein in the Myriad Blossom Valley at all. Even Shangguan Hongyu, who had always believed in Fu Changsheng, panicked and looked to Shangguan Feng for help. Shangguan Feng, also a little worried for Fu Changsheng, offered reassurance. There are still 5 days until the 2-week deadline. Wait a little longer. Shangguan Feng was already thinking about how to defend Fu Changsheng. Shangguan Wei, confident of victory, was no longer anxious. 5 days was but a fleeting moment for a cultivator, and the 5th day of the deadline soon arrived. In Duolong Lake, water gurgled and splashed. Silver-spotted venomous snakes swam upstream, and fish leaped from the lake. Fu Changsheng, long submerged, also emerged from the lake. Shangguan Wei caught a glimpse of a gleaming white ore in Fu Changsheng's hand, and his pupils constricted. How is this possible? A spiritual stone ore that even professional spirit seekers couldn't find. And yet, a mid-stage key training lad had found it. Impossible. Shangguan Wei couldn't accept being slapped in the face by a mere key training practitioner. Without a second thought, he immediately formed a hand seal, intending to kill Fu Changsheng before he could announce the results. He was just an outsider from a small clan. Kill him, and the clan leader wouldn't really do anything to him. Elder Wei, you want to start a war? Shangguan Feng, wary of all this, inconspicuously stepped forward, blocking Fu Changsheng's path. He stared at Shangguan Wei with narrowed eyes. Even in his prime, Shangguan Wei was no match for Shangguan Feng, let alone in his half-crippled state. Shangguan Wei spat out another mouthful of blood in anger. As Fu Changsheng landed, everyone immediately disembarked from the warship and gathered around him. They gazed intently at the ore he held, which surprisingly contained a low-grade spirit stone. The Shangguan clan leader was thrilled. Clan leader Fu, Did you find this spirit stone ore at the bottom of the lake? A single spirit stone vein can be mined for at least 5 years. Even a small one can generate nearly 60,000 spirit stones annually, a windfall for the Shangguan family. Furthermore, they had sacrificed 3 foundation establishment cultivators on this quest. If the spirit stone vein was lost, even if they captured Xianlong City, they would still be defeated. Fu Changsheng bowed and said, "Senior, the spirit stone vein is indeed hidden in Duolong Lake, but he didn't specify its specific location." Clan leader Shangguan, a shrewd man with over a century of experience, understood his meaning and immediately said, "Clan leader Fu, rest assured. The 20% of the income from the vein promised to you will be fully paid." He paused. He glanced back at Shangguan Wei and said, "As for Elder Wei's share of the dividends, it will also be directly transferred to your name." He made no mention of Shangguan Wei's apology. Shangguan Feng, unwilling to let Shangguan Wei off the hook, said in a humming voice, "Elder Wei, Changsheng has fulfilled his promise. You should also apologize publicly." Everyone's eyes fell on Shangguan Wei. Shangguan Wei's blood surged, and he felt a sweet, fishy taste in his throat. He swallowed the blood rushing up from his chest, staring intently at Fu Changsheng. He said coldly, "Chief Fu, I shouldn't have called you a bastard just now. It was me, Meng Lang." He paused. He sneered, "But you are indeed the product of the union of human and demon. I, Wei, was merely stating a fact." With that, he turned and entered the warship. Shangguan Hongyu was stunned for a moment, looking at her father in confusion. She had assumed Fu Changsheng's parents had died during the Xianlong tribe's attack on the mountain, but it seemed there was something else. What Shangguan Wei said was known only to Chief Shangguan. After all, he had thoroughly researched the identity of the next heir to the subordinate faction. However, he was the only one who knew. As far as he knew, Fu Changsheng's origins were known only to his grandfather and his biological parents. His grandfather had died at the hands of the Xianlong tribe, and his parents had disappeared long ago. It was unknown where Shangguan Wei had gotten this information. Everyone turned to Fu Changsheng, only to find him frozen in shock, seemingly in utter astonishment at the astonishing news. Fu Changsheng recalled how, when he was a child, whenever his grandfather mentioned his parents, he would subconsciously gaze toward the distant north, remaining silent for long moments. It seemed his own life story held a hidden secret. Fu Changsheng took a deep breath, quickly regaining his composure, and revealed the exact location of the mineral vein to the Shangguan clan leader. They descended to the lakebed, passing through a natural illusionary formation. They indeed discovered a vein of spirit stones beneath the lake. There were no signs of mining. After several days of exploration, the Shangguan clan's spirit hunters concluded that the vein was small. With an annual investment of 10,000 people, it could be mined for 20 years. However, due to its depth and the surrounding lining of the area with cloud-bright stones, mining was significantly more difficult. Therefore, an estimated 30,000 to 40,000 low-grade spirit stones could be mined annually. However, after deducting the costs of the protective formation and labor at the mine, the annual profit was close to 30,000. Fu Changsheng's 20% plus Shangguan Wei's dividends amounted to approximately 7,500 spirit stones. This meant that for the next 20 years, he wouldn't have to do anything and would earn 7,500 spirit stones annually. Fu Changsheng could no longer suppress the smile on his face. The Shangguan family was equally delighted. For the Shangguan family, this was a colossal bonanza. They immediately ordered their formation masters to create a formation, isolating the entire Wunho Valley. Fu Changsheng simply collected his annual dividends, free from the chores of mining, enjoying a leisurely life. Several months had passed since leaving Nanyang County. After arranging everything, the Shangguan clan leader returned on his warship. Fu Changsheng had originally planned to search for the 3-colored soil at Kili Mountain, but at his current level, leaving the group in the eastern wilderness was too dangerous. Most importantly, he still had a large supply in his storage bag. If targeted by a robber cultivator, the consequences would be disastrous. Kili Mountain would have to be saved for another visit. Patriarch Shangguan deliberately took a detour to bring the warship to the foot of Fu's Lufang Mountain. As they parted ways, he smiled at Fu Changsheng and said, "Patriarch Fu, your Fu family has accumulated more than half of their merit points. Strive to establish your foundation as soon as possible and become a 9th-rank family recognized by the imperial court." Fu Changsheng bowed in gratitude. As he disembarked from the treasure ship, he glanced at the storage bag at his waist. This time, He had a good harvest. By returning some of the supplies he didn't need to the clan warehouse, he should be able to earn quite a few family contribution points. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.